right, well, welcome. Or is it recording already, Bill?
Yeah.
All right. Welcome to another edition of Bottom of the Bill, ladies and gentlemen. We got Nolan Curtis and Jon Ward with us today of Mr. Cool. I'm excited to have you guys on. Thank you so much for being here today.
Yeah, thanks for having us.
Oh, absolutely. Before we get started on anything, where my drink?
You put it right there.
Right in front of me. I'm so funny. All right, let's do a cheers, the obligatory cheers.
Yeah.
That was the most awkward setup ever.
It was very awkward. I'm sorry.
Let me ask about that. Some people tap.
Whoa!
Yeah.
How are we gonna hear you if you don't speak in your microphone?
Let me ask you a question.
Yeah.
Some people tap it, some people don't.
Mhm.
I go in between because I feel like every time I go to tap it, nobody else does.
I say.
Have you
fuck
always
'em.
done it?
I've always done it. As long as I can
Okay.
remember, anyways. Yeah.
All right, fair enough.
Yeah, I'm into
Good
the
to know.
tap. And even if they don't tap it, it's like, fuck you.
I always consider the
That's-
tap
I like
to
that.
be
Right.
done before a shot, but not if it's just a normal drink. But I did that wrong just now. So
As long as you have rules that
Exactly what you will.
that you follow
in my
occasionally.
head, that's the rule. But you know,
Good to know. Thank you. Sorry
Yeah.
for derailing.
Oh,
Start.
not. That's what this is all about, derailing. We try to get into good informational stuff, but, rarely sticks on point. Anyways, so you guys just released a brand new album, You Win, right?
Yes, sir.
So when did the album come out?
You know, honestly, the timeline of the last year has gotten foggier and foggier. The album came out recently, though, officially,
Okay.
in August.
yeah.
Yes, in August, and it was finished long before that, but that was kind of one of the challenges is figuring out when and how, and then eventually I think John even called. He's like, I can't do this anymore.
You can't sit on.
we gotta just like put this out. I said, let's put it out.
Oh, you can't sit on it anymore. I thought
Yeah,
he was
we
like, I
can't,
quit.
like-
I'm quitting the
Yeah.
band.
But
I'm
yeah, it
just
came out in
familiar
August.
with the
In
trap
August.
of working on something forever until it
It is
doesn't.
a trap.
I did have an EP with the band once that we spent 6 months working on, and then it never released because
Oh,
we never thought it was done, and then we all forgot about it.
yeah.
I
I've been
got
there
you beat
before.
on that. I worked on an album for 2 years and had to re-record it twice. And then I was
Gotta
just
love it.
so pissed off about I just quit the band, and then it's just
Yeah.
gone. It's just gone
Nothing
now.
ever happened with it.
Nothing ever happened.
Now you
with
use
it.
some of those songs with Side Hustle.
Now you do. That's true.
So
The bangers, the good ones.
yeah, the good ones. Where was there like a concept for the album? Where did it what was the inspiration for that?
Yeah, the album concept kind of like it changed a lot, and that's a thing. Like, we definitely came together as a band before we really even played shows. We were working the songs for the idea we were going to record them, but even then, like, the more we played them, conceptually, I think some of that changed. So eventually, we settled on. And there were a lot of ideas. Some of them were pretty stupid, but
Yeah.
uh,
Yeah, weed out all the bullshit.
yeah, once all those, we got rid of those. We decided to go old school with, a title track. Name the album You Win. And initially that was meant to be very sarcastic. And then, I don't know, it probably still is a little bit sarcastic, but just that in general has kind of changed, I think. Just, I think it conceptualizes the album. Initially, again, it was meant to be sarcastic, but I think that's changed, for me at least. Maybe you have thoughts, John?
Well, I've always liked the combination of sarcastic and serious at the same time, which I guess is something something we hope to capture.
I think the name definitely captures that, right?
Right.
And the logo.
Good, okay.
Yeah. So that's actually, I kind of want to backtrack a little bit. Where did the name Mr. Cool come from?
That's another one. It's because we're really uncreative, so we just kind of use the name to name songs and the band. No, I mean, like, we definitely... A lot of these songs, they started before I met even John. And so Mr. Cool was a song I wrote, super self-deprecating. That was the intention. And then, to be honest, we were sitting around thinking about what we should name the band, and I think we realized that the least cool name we could give the name of the band would probably be Mr. Cool.
That's
And so it was intended to be, again, kind of a sarcastic attempt, because spent a lot of time trying to think of band names, and none of them are cool enough. So then maybe you should just like embrace that.
Yeah, that's what we did.
Go straight to the heart.
Shit, yeah.
That's hilarious. I love that though.
Yeah.
He's like, they're like, fuck it, we can't think of a cool band name, so we're just gonna actually call it Mr. Cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, like if you can make it happen with. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Last night, I was like, you know what would be a great band name? I was like, great band name. I wrote that down. I'm like, great
Hey, that's
band
not
name.
bad.
That's a good one. Yeah.
Oh, it's a great band name. I love that band.
So I'm a big Bottom of the Bill fan.
Really?
Watch, yes I do.
Nice.
And I think
Billy is
Jon-
incredulous.
I am.
John was on a episode.
Yeah.
He was.
Previous episode.
Welcome back, by the way, John.
Yeah.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Glad to
We're
be
running
here.
out of musicians. We got to keep on cycling them. But that's a good thing. That this is our 55th
I'll see you guys back in
episode.
January.
Yeah.
See us back in January.
That's fine.
I only bring it up to say I think John's like that's one of the things you do, right? Is like you just have a running list of band names. I think it
You
came
know
up
what?
last
Actually, I
episode.
have a good list, but it's more of a list of song names, which to me are a bit different. But yeah, I don't really have a band name list, but I've got a huge song name list, and
Scratch that.
if anybody wants to hear any of it, later.
I do have an enormously long band name list, and
Nice.
don't have a song list. We should combine forces.
I've been trying to think of a good
I have-
album list, like album name list.
Album names.
Yeah. which
Well,
is equally
I've
as
got
important, I feel like.
songs that I've written. I don't have any song names for it. So if you just want to what's not the best one, but let's put like a mediocre song name that you like, that you wrote.
We're looking for
Yeah,
mediocre.
one that's pretty good is Modest Yahoo.
I love that one.
That's definitely a good name for an instrumental song for sure.
Modest,
See,
yeah.
he's good at it. See what I mean?
Yeah.
My favorite band name, I think I was on there, besides Bob Barker, Pencil Mike, but we just talked about it, is Big Time Banana Wine. I love that.
A lot of good syllables in there.
Yeah.
I'm a big fan of that.
Big Time Banana Wine. That's a jazz band for sure. Not my band.
Definitely not your band.
I can't jazz.
You don't even know what it sounds like.
I don't know.
Yeah. Okay. So,
Got
is there like an overall theme for the album? Like, is there something you're trying to convey with the music, and the lyrics, like just overall with all the songs, or is it just kind of like each song stands on its own type thing?
You know, we definitely did. We made the album to be cohesive, like it all kind of flows together. But I think each song is definitely in its own lane. I think that's one of the things, maybe sound-wise, that makes us a little different. Was we try to switch it up song to song. At least I think we do in the album.
Yeah.
But hopefully it all flows together. That was really important to me, is making sure that we made an album. Like that we did the way albums used to get presented, which is like listen to it in its entirety, listen to it in order the way it was put out. And
Right.
so that was definitely purposeful, but the songs, I wouldn't say they necessarily they are very different song to song. And a lot of them, they start like again, a lot of these songs were written before even the band came together. So some of them are kind of introspective. I'm probably speaking from like my own deal there, but bringing them to the band, they changed. So it wasn't all that thought out, I guess. Like
Yeah. But
song to song.
But it definitely sounds cohesive, though. Like, I mean, it's a great album, by the way. I love all the songs, and it sounds great.
Thanks, man.
It's definitely it all definitely sounds like it's you guys. Like, there's no like nothing feels forced, I guess. Like you listen to some like bands that are just kind of like up and coming, that they're just like thrown like even with our first EP, it was kind of like just, I've got a song, okay, you've got a song, okay, you've got a song. Let's just kind of, we just got to put something out, right? And then it's like, you can just kind of tell when it doesn't sound as cohesive, and I think that you guys definitely don't have that problem, which is a cool thing.
Thanks, man.
Right on. Thanks.
Yeah, for sure. Which leads me to my next question. How would you like describe the music? Because your bio says kind of like a 90s mixed with like psychedelic 60s kind of thing, which is pretty accurate, I would say, but it's got like a different, almost like an indie kind of thing going on too,
So that's why you're here, John, is to help us discuss these things.
I got a real, sorry, I cut him off before, but I just not interrupted because he wasn't talking yet.
Let's hear it.
Yeah, but I got a big Neutral Milk Hotel vibes from it.
Fucking awesome.
I love the Airplane Over the Sea is one of my favorite albums. That one front to back is like masterpiece. But that's what I got when I saw y'all at Jackrabbits. I think it was like in January this year. It was early. It was in
The
February.
timeline's fuzzy.
Yeah, it was like if it was before the insurrection or after. I can't remember. But that's that's what I thought. I was like, oh shit, yes, fucking this. I want that. Neutral Milk Hotel, more of that, please. That's what I got first off.
About that. So, I think I know what you were gonna say, but let me just say one of the things John said. Let me steal your thunder real quick.
He hasn't.
As John said, you know what, man?
You got it.
You know what? This music reminds me of Neutral Milk Hotel. That was like
It is. That's the first thing I said.
Yeah.
first thing he said.
When I met Nolan, I was like, "That's what this sounds like."
Did you say that on the when you were on the podcast with us a few months back? Also,
I might have. It's quite possible.
Yeah, because I remember that conversation coming up.
Do you know them? Have you listened to them before?
No.
Oh,
So I have no point of reference, but I'm sure it's amazing.
Wonderful songwriting. It's like super lo-fi kind of stuff, but the lyrics are beautiful, melodies are great. It's just wonderful. It's a lot of acoustic guitar and trumpet. So I mean,
Sound wise, I think.
Yeah.
No, I think you're spot on with that.
Yeah.
It's just because the sound similarities.
Yeah,
and
the sound.
I love that album too,
Yeah, me
man.
too.
So that's high praise. I appreciate that.
I Yeah, man. Like, and the horn arrangements. Do you write all the horn arrangements, John?
Yeah, more or less. So really, before we recorded, none of the songs had ever had more than just the one horn, just me on trumpet. But for the recordings, we always heard the idea of like a whole group of horns. I almost wanted to capture like a sort of quaint, like a little marching band in the street kind of feeling.
Yeah.
In some of it. Especially on the song Grateful and You In, I think that's kind of what I was hearing. But so basically, yeah, right before we recorded, I wrote out some little, basically an arrangement for 3 horns. We brought in 2 others, and then we recorded the 3 horns twice for a total of 6. So we were just trying to give it a sound of like, it's a little team in the background, little line of horn players in the background.
That's really
Shout out to
cool.
Bryant and Juan.
Yup.
Oh, so
Bryant Patterson and Juan Rowland.
fucking
the dudes.
both badasses, man,
Yeah.
for sure. I know Bryant for sure. I don't know Juan. I've met Juan like once maybe, but Bryant's a beast, man. He's so good.
Yeah. Yeah, they both I just wrote up these little incomprehensible handwritten pages.
Yeah.
And they did a great job of humoring me and figuring out what the hell the notes were supposed to be.
Nice.
And they just played perfectly. It was awesome.
I'd also
Oh,
add
yeah.
to that both those guys are really just good dudes.
Oh yeah.
They came through. Brian is like Mr. Humble. That's Mr. Cool in a non-sarcastic way.
yeah.
Like that's like actually Mr.
He's
Cool.
the real
Waiting
Mr.
for
Cool.
He's so cool.
He
Juan
is.
is like the friendliest guy. Those guys are awesome. They came through studio day and just knocked it out, man. It was awesome.
Yeah. Well, do they both play with LPT?
Yeah.
Yeah.
They sure
Okay.
do.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
They're so fucking good.
Yeah,
Brian's
much.
also like I was like, yo, you should come on the podcast one time, and he's like, nah, man, I can't do that.
Why not?
Because he's like, I don't do good with like public speaking, and I was like, oh, okay, man. Well, I just thought it's like speaking of just being like Mr. Cool. It's like, nah, I don't do that, bro.
I'll fucking
It's
do that.
alright, cool.
See what I mean? Like the non-sarcastic Mr. Cool. He
Yeah,
is, man.
exactly.
For sure. That guy's awesome.
Yeah, he is, man. And this album was self-produced, right? Or did
Yeah.
you bring it? Okay, it was. Okay, cool.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, it was. We got to work at NFS, and we did some stuff at Pulp in Gainesville as well, but pretty much self-produced. We had some good ears in there, so it's like definitely collective. Leroy was a big help to us. Shout out
Should we say
Leroy.
NFS is North Florida Studios in Elkton?
That's the
Which
one
is
with the pool,
Micah
right?
Bethea's studio. It does have a pool.
That's all. We're recording.
It's
our next
basically
album
on
there.
a giant ranch property. It's like a resort where you record music.
What's
it's awesome.
what's the livestock situation there? How many goats?
I feel like there are some somewhere out
Nice.
there.
All right, cool. Yeah, we're
If I had to
recording.
guess. I haven't
Is it
seen them,
your
but
roof?
it seems like they are there if you looked far enough,
I can imagine myself being like, if I ever made it real big, just being crazy and recording. I was like, yeah, I'm recording with the goats, and I would just bring the goats in. And then just record it and be like, oh yeah, there's some goat features on my album.
I feel like some animal noises in the background wouldn't have hurt.
I
Yeah,
know there's
the
like
album.
thunder on accident in the record
that's
somewhere.
pretty cool.
Yeah,
That did happen.
Oh, you guys should take another 6 months to work that out with the
Yeah.
goat sounds.
totally.
um,
That's funny.
It is like I would say though that like whether or not like it was self-produced, like I do feel like we produced like aesthetically what we were trying to do, but like Leroy, I mean he set it all up. You know what I mean? Like there's the other side of production, which is like capturing the sound. That was all NFS or like again some of the stuff we did at Pulp. So I do want to shout them out because we might have like steered the ship or whatever, but like. NFS is a great home to get recordings done. You're
Totally.
like in good hands. I would say that.
Awesome. And was Leroy the engineer as well? Okay, cool. Awesome.
Micah
Bethea.
Bethea, him and Leroy built a hell of a studio. So
Awesome.
Yup.
Awesome. Yeah, I'm excited to check it out. I mean, we haven't spoken to anybody over there yet, but it's definitely been a conversation of topic about where we're gonna do the next one.
Do you know that there's a studio like right down the street from us?
Well, yeah, Well, we haven't decided. We haven't. Even,
No, I'm just no, not at all. I'm just saying. Do you know the
Oh, friends
about
of
it?
friend.
No. It's called endangered humans or something like that.
Endangered Wise Men.
Endangered wise men.
Oh yeah. I've heard
It's
of them before.
right there. I was going on a walk and it was just like I could not believe how close it is to my house.
Oh, I did not know.
I,
they were
and
right
and
there.
I think the rates were $70 an hour.
Oh, let's
I
not
don't
put
want
them
to.
out
I
there
don't.
like that.
I don't want to quote him on
Yeah,
that.
don't quote Billy on that.
But it's this big place. I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, I haven't heard anything out of there, but
I guess what I'm trying to say is just go on walks more. You just go explore your city that way.
funny thing about studios though usually is that they never look like studios. They usually look like abandoned Kmart's or like
yeah.
or like strange like I guess it's to be discreet, but I've rarely been to a studio that like jumped out at me right away.
Well, it's
Even
all,
NFS, it's like in the middle of nowhere.
It's also goes like cheap overhead. You know what I mean?
It's true.
It's like every studio that I've been to is always like in a warehouse district or just like
Industrial
off the
complex.
beaten path. You know what I mean? Yeah.
I mean,
Really, that's what I think is unique about NFS is that it's not in a warehouse somewhere.
right.
It's like in its own little building out in the country, which makes it feel different because it's the same thing. Most studios I've been to are like in a storage unit or something.
right.
And it's still, a lot of great studios are like that, but yeah, it's a cool kind of quality that set it apart.
You definitely
Totally.
have that like Jurassic Park moment when you come up to the gates. It's like slow reveal, and then you drive up.
They actually have that song playing when you go
Yeah.
in. Yeah. It's like Rick Rubin is this, like the producer. He's got like a really.
Yeah, we're working with Rick.
Oh, you're working with Rick on the next
Yeah,
album.
Sure.
Nice. Who's
Know him
who's
well.
funding that record, guys? Fuck. Yeah, but I would imagine it's a similar situation where he's like in the Hollywood Hills and it's just like a big, beautiful property just overlooking the entire like city of LA and like mountains and all this shit, and it's just like a zen getaway, and you stay there while you're recording a lot of the time, and it's basically like a retreat to create music. That sounds like just heaven. When I die, I hope that's what heaven is for me. Just a retreat of creating music.
That's why there's so many ghosts at Rick Rubin's studio.
Well, he also kills a lot of people, and that's a fact.
It's better than
100%.
Yeah, like our last experience was we were recorded in this warehouse that was in a junkyard, and
it's a
then
boatyard,
they
yeah.
put us up in an abandoned rub and tug with no air conditioning.
No offense.
Relaxation station. Is that what you're talking about?
Yeah,
The last studio I
relaxation
worked at
station.
was in a cardboard box inside a dumpster. So
What?
I'm just kidding.
I was about to say.
I'm just trying to one up you.
Yeah.
I was like, were the acoustics good in the dumpster?
Yeah, it sounded great. Yeah.
No, but I can't even think of the name of that
They
studio.
put little
Right, Dog
sound
Dog
foam
Manning,
on the
yeah.
inside of the cardboard box.
Oh,
It's got really great acoustics.
yeah,
Yeah,
man.
it's
Like
great.
no
It's
echo.
like a one down, by the way. It's not really a one up.
Yeah.
But no, that's what you're saying though. It just looks like it's gonna be a dump, and you walk in, and you're like, "Holy
a
fuck,
beautiful
this is so
studio.
great!" Yeah, Dog
Yeah.
Manic is gorgeous.
Yeah.
Location.
It's just 5 hours away, so we can't do
Yeah,
that
well.
anymore. Sorry, guys. All right, so let's get into your background now. Outside of Mr. Cool, what's your story? How did you discover music as a passion for you?
Go ahead, John.
You go first.
All right, I will.
I already told them my whole
I know,
story.
was
I
just
want to hear
kidding.
your story.
I got you. My story isn't as exciting, I guess. I just have always probably like everyone, been a huge music fan. I think one of the more unique things about my like journey into recording music is I always assumed I shouldn't be allowed to do it. Like I had this like extreme reverence for musicians and songwriters and like the process. Like even as a kid, I was like, I was like afraid to touch instruments. They felt so like special or important, and like even like you know, like going to church as a kid, like the church band, like I would be so like scared to talk to the musicians. They seem so special. So like to be honest, it took me a while to kind of get over that and like try to do it myself. I had some great friends. I lived in Tampa for a while.
Okay.
And I was cued in. Shout out to Nate Contra, amazing engineer. I had an opportunity to just kind of shadow him and what he was up to. And, you know, that was kind of where I was like, well, hey, I've seen this done. You know, I've always been a writer, and, you know, I was playing the guitar. So although like I didn't jump into it right away as a kid, I definitely was like the biggest fan, you know, of music, and just like all of you guys, obviously. But it took me a while to like try to do it, and then I was, you know, lucky enough to have an opportunity to work in a studio every day down in Tampa, and that's kind of where the spark of, I guess, drive started, where I was like, you know, I have some ideas that I really want to do. The problem was I hadn't been in a band, so it was mostly just me writing songs and playing them for myself.
Right.
You know, and like, I guess just practicing and whatever. But when I had a chance to move back to North Florida, that's kind of where recording started. I put a little band together, more in the Americana range of sound. And in that process, doing some recordings with Salt and Pine, I met Jon Ward. So
Salt and Pine. Why does that sound so familiar? Who's that?
Salt and Pine is, we started off as a trio based out of St. Augustine. We definitely are going strong. We dabbled in like the North Florida area pretty extensively. We're still actively playing shows, and we've released 2 albums.
Okay, cool.
But Mr. Cool is like a big time departure from that sound. And I think for me it was a necessary escape to do something new. And so, because actually that's kind of where it started, to be honest, was I got a hold of Jon. I was looking for some recommendations for someone to do some session work, and I got to meet Jon. Jon, of course, is like the coolest, is the nicest guy.
Yeah.
So we went out to eat after the recording, kind of started chopping it up a little bit, and yeah, and then I was like, man, I have this idea for another project, and that's pretty much how it came together. So
Wow.
yeah.
I want to backtrack for a second to Jon being the coolest guy. Can you just be a little bit more of a dick, bro? Because like you can't be that nice and also that talented.
That's why he plays with so many
Hey, I'll
bands.
do my best,
so
dude.
likable, you know what I mean?
I'll do my best.
You should just develop
You
a
bunch
drug
of
habit
dicks.
and then just start quitting bands left and right. That's what you got to do.
I'll get started on that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Bro.
It's never too late.
It's never too late
never
to
too
do
late.
drugs.
Yeah.
Anytime
it's
of the
never
day.
too late.
Yeah,
Ever.
anytime of the
That's
day.
that's the bottom of the bill message.
That is
Yeah.
the bottom of the bill message. We're looking for sponsors, by the way, if anyone's interested.
I don't
Dare?
think you'd
Um,
just be sponsored
Dare, yeah, Dare.
by Maker's Mark would be great. Makers, the Kentucky's finest handmade bourbon.
I mean, at this point, if you're making fucking whiskey in your bathtub, we'll take it, bro. Just saying.
Bathwater whiskey, sponsor of Bottom of the Bill.
Bottom
Yeah.
of the bill, bottom of the barrel, bottom of the bill.
Oh man,
Brought to you by cardboard boxes
Yeah.
that should be That
and
we could-
foam insulation.
Foam insulation.
and long, cold nights in dumpsters. Hey, I think that would be a
Damn.
great idea. We should come out with our own
Long,
moonshine.
cold nights and dumpsters.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
But yeah,
Sorry.
Brought to you
LCN
by
sounds great.
Relaxation Station.
Yeah.
But yeah, we should make our own moonshine. Call it bottom of the barrel.
That's a good idea.
That's good.
I like that.
That's actually a really good one. I'm going to hang on to that one.
All right,
Yeah.
cool.
That's pretty good.
So, who would you say were your earliest influences when you were listening to music when you were a kid?
I'm looking at one of them right now, the old Let It Be album, the four
Oh man, the
the
Beatles.
four
of
mop
course.
tops. I was like in a house that my dad was playing music every day. Like, my dad was a huge John Prine fan, so I grew up in a house of John Prine music. And
Hell
like,
yeah.
I have everything. Well, I could thank my dad for everything, for any of the, putting me on to good music. But yeah, I grew up listening to pretty much everything because that's how he was. So primarily it was Beatles music, John Prine songs, some CCR. But then like I got heavily into hip hop.
Oh hell yeah.
Like we all probably did at some point.
Definitely.
And except this guy.
I
Not
just
really.
never did it.
Yeah.
I got Tupac on my wall, but I never.
He's never even heard a Tupac song. Actually, fun
Not
story.
I couldn't name one. No.
Yeah, it's wild.
Sorry.
Anyway.
Definitely Pink Floyd was a massive influence. I
Yeah.
mean, maybe there's a little, some of the album is paying homage to things I love. I'll be honest about that. The way the songs kind of sound different song to song. Some of that's intentional. I really wanted the album to be kind of an homage to styles of music, stuff that I loved, and Pink Floyd was definitely one of those things. Yeah.
Hey everyone, just want to take a second to talk to you about one of our favorite music venues, Blue Jay Listening Room. Blue Jay is a space for true music lovers where every ticket is a backstage pass. Silence your cell phones, enjoy a nice glass of wine or craft beer, and be part of an intimate experience unlike anywhere else in Jacksonville. Hear national and local artists sing their original songs and share the stories behind them in a space carefully curated for the premier show-going experience. I personally have seen some of my favorite shows here, as well as having played with some of my heroes. Not only is Blue Jay a wonderfully unique experience, it has become a staple in the Florida music scene. Mention Bottom of the Bill on your next visit and receive 10% off your tab. Blue Jay is located at 2457 3rd Street South, Jacksonville Beach, and be sure to check out www.bluejayjacks.com for news, ticketing, and events. I remember when I first discovered Pink Floyd, it was in high school, and I mean, I obviously knew who they were, but like before that, but my dad wasn't like a huge Pink Floyd fan, or if he was, I just didn't hear it growing up. So when I got into high school, I had some friends of mine that were like kind of into that kind of world, and I'm gonna like out myself here, but we took some acid one time. And,
What's that?
It's a weird drug. You should try it sometime. I'm just kidding, kids. Don't do drugs.
This show's for entertainment purposes only.
Yeah, I put a little disclosure right there. And I remember we listened to the Wish You Were Here album from start to finish, and I just like laid on my friend's couch in the dark with a strobe light going, and then fucking Welcome to the Machine came on, and I about lost my shit. I just sat there, and obviously visually the shit that's going on is insane, but like just the feeling of just like it was majestic, you know what I mean? And then I was just like, this is already like my favorite band. The Beatles will always have a number one spot for me, but like Pink Floyd became a quick number two after that.
Yeah, so one of our fellow bandmates, shout out Dan Flores. I have this thing where I force him to rank things because he refuses to like give anything precedent or ranking over something else.
He sounds like Mr. Cool also.
Yes, he's super mystical. But like I feel like I can stand on that. I feel like Pink Floyd might be the greatest band of all time. I think maybe like just on the catalog. I mean, like everybody has their own opinions. Like, there's different kinds of great music, but I think that's like the pinnacle as far as like conceptual meeting in the ears, and then like the visual element of it. It's just so amazing. Like you said, Welcome to the Machine. I was listening to that the other day, getting chills. I've heard that's like 100 times. Still works, and we're looking at that photo right now.
Yeah, exactly.
And I don't know, man. Those guys just hit it so square. So, paying homage to that somewhat in the sound, but we can never like replicate it. You know?
Right.
We had a
yeah, of course.
whole conversation about this with, I can't remember who was our guest, but about how Pink Floyd was like one of the most original bands.
Yeah,
ever.
The innovation on the production
like before
side.
before them there was nothing, and then after that, like they had their own category of music. It's not rock. It is a lot of blues, but like. Then the craziest fucking there's no word for it. I don't know how you describe that. They're like psychedelic. They like invented psychedelic music, but it's not even psychedelic.
It's not even psychedelic. It's just
it's Pink
like
Floyd.
Ethereal rock kind of. It's just like a different kind of thing. And David Gilmour is probably one of the most prolific guitar players of all time, man.
Yeah.
I mean, he doesn't do like anything. Like he never does anything fancy, but he kind of does too. And like his the way that he plays the notes, you know what I mean? It's like I've tried to like I've tried to transcribe David Gilmour solos, and it's like
so about feel.
Yeah, it's like I can't even do it. He's playing 3 notes and I can't play it. You know, I'm just like, how the fuck do you like? I can't play. Like, it won't sound like him. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I loved it for the mini Moog. Like they just they put it to work in all their albums.
Especially Welcome to the Machine.
No, I know. Yeah.
Oh my god.
And that it just came out and everything.
Yeah.
It's a funny story about that. Rick Wakeman got one for like they were very, very expensive back in the day, and someone sold it to Rick Wakeman because they thought it was broken because it only played 1 note at a time.
Oh my god.
Somebody sold me this piano and it's only 1 note at a time, and then Rick Wakeman bought it for like $300 and just changed the face of
oh my god, that's so funny. I had a friend almost do that to me recently where they thought their clean channel on their Mesa Boogie amp wasn't working, which is like a $2,500 amplifier.
Yeah.
He was like, I'll just give it to you. You just have to get it fixed. And I was like, okay. I went over to his house the other day to go jam, and like I plug into he's like, only the dirty channel works. And I was like, okay. We turned it on, the clean channel worked, and he was like, should have taken that off when I gave it to you, bro. And I was like, no, I'll take it now for free right now. I'll take it off your hands.
Right.
Man. But yeah, so did you say that Nolan worked? Did you work with ASCAP at some point?
I did, yeah. Yeah, that was another thing that led me to... I mean, I was already making my own music, but I definitely pursued like a career in the industry. Welcome to the machine.
Yeah, right.
And I did. Yeah, I worked for it. It gave me incredible perspective. It gave me great insight. Working and seeing kind of the machine of Nashville, learning things I had no idea about. Yeah, I wouldn't have traded that. I wouldn't have traded that for anything because it taught me a lot. And like in general, if you're gonna make your own music, some of that stuff you just don't know. You know what I mean? Like you could go to, I guess, Full Sail or something and learn it all, but you learn by doing. So I learned a lot about like stuff I still use to my advantage today, just from working.
How did we know kind of how Mr. Cool formed, right? You guys met. You were recording some stuff, and then you met Jon. And how did you put the band together from there?
So I actually, before even meeting Jon, our bass player Dan and my good buddy Craig, who's on the lead, the 3 of us were jamming. So it was pretty unorganized, but I had a couple songs that I wrote that I was playing with them because it was nice to play with somebody else. But the band didn't really come together until I met Jon, because I did have this idea. I wanted to bring the trumpet specifically into rock music again. And I don't know whether or not this is true, but I feel like it's kind of like a missing thing, and I'm sure that's not true. I'm not hearing it on the radio or whatever.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's, the songs were being worked by myself, Dan, and Craig, and there was this amazing player known as Alex Paramus, who is, if you're from St. Augustine, that name is obvious and right away. He's just such a fantastic drummer. So we had, the 3 of us, me, Dan, and Craig, been such dorky big fans of the Space Heaters.
Yeah.
And I mean, those guys just rip. So
Yeah, man.
I went up to Alex just mentioning that I had this idea for a project, and Alex is such like a welcoming, good-natured dude. He was like, "Oh yeah, sounds pretty cool." We made it happen, man. It's like one of those things, we just made it happen. I actually got some studio time. Shout out to Bill at Toes in the Sand. It's a
Oh hell yeah.
legendary sound operation in St. Augustine. And I had been doing some work with Bill, so he let us use the studio, just kind of meet to jam for the first time. And John and I had individually played a couple of the songs, and I had a lot of trumpet parts in my head. I can't play trumpet, so I just kind of like an imbecile like mouthed them to John, and he like humored that and was like, "Oh no, actually it sounds like a trumpet almost."
Yeah.
It was pretty accurate.
and he
There's not a big difference between a trumpet and somebody humming.
I guess so, right?
It
And
all comes from the mouth. At the end
it's
of the day.
true. I guess you're doing that in the instrument, basically. So
Pretty much.
How do you play trumpet? Just a deer. Sorry.
Anyway, so step one, how to play.
Yeah.
No, I mean.
go ahead.
No, you go ahead.
Okay, I will.
Their
So
story's more interesting.
Yeah.
it's really not much of a story. I met John. He because he's so. I mean, you've played with John. He's like so gifted at just like hearing and doing. So he did. He humored the goofy trumpet parts I had in mind, and I play guitar, and I really dug it. I just really, really. It was like something I always wanted to hear, and it was awesome. So he agreed, and we did. We just jammed it out one day, and it was kind of off and running from there. Everything really, really came together. Practice one, and yeah, that was it.
So I'm curious as to how you've been able to make. Have you kept consistent members the entire time, or okay? So, and how long has the band been together for?
Well, it was also a weird time to start a band during the great pandemic of 2020.
Right. So you guys started last year.
Our first show was like basically the week before the pandemic started.
Nice. It's
So
good-
we like
good
built
timing.
up and did this first show, and we had all this momentum, and then the whole world ended for like a while. We were like, well, that sucks.
Yeah.
kind
We
of
were
a
just
fun-
getting started. But then I feel like all that shutdown time, we actually utilized that to really create the album, which maybe we wouldn't have been able to utilize that time in the same way if we were playing shows during that time all the time.
It
That-
was a weird blessing in disguise with that. So
That kind of leads me to my next point. Was like, you've got a band with guys that are working full time pretty much. How do you manage the schedules and rehearsals and booking dates and that kind of thing?
man, it's tough.
Yeah.
The truth is, like, I have another project too. John has 47 other projects.
Yeah.
Alex only has like 5 other projects. Dan is a psycho, so he's, we have to find him, find out where he is.
Yeah.
Just kidding.
No.
Craig-
That's hilarious. though.
Craig, no, honestly, that's the biggest challenge. I think anybody doing music in a professional sense and trying to also do original material, it's like the biggest challenge, because usually the original shows don't pay so well. So you
At
can't,
first, yeah.
I can't like begrudge somebody who's got a paying gig to, work with the band. But in truth, it's never been a real problem. It's tough to get things scheduled, but the other thing is, like, not to give him such a big head, but he's such a great player that he doesn't really need to practice. He's like Allen Iverson, so it's really just making sure that we're cohesive, and the guys are they're just so good. So we get together as much as we can. Like, strategically, we've realized it's better to plan out like 2-3 months worth of practices versus like seeing, can we all get together this week, because like the answer's probably no.
Right.
So I feel
We
like
started having big group phone calls where we're like,
Yeah.
let's just put the next 5 rehearsals on the calendar, and that's the only thing we figured out where it actually started working.
Yeah.
Yep.
Well, that's what we did with Side Hustle, where we were just okay. This day of the week is just designated rehearsal
Monday.
day.
We
tried that too.
Mondays. That didn't work.
I've tried it all, man.
Yeah.
I don't think I've ever had a band where that worked since high school, where we rehearsed on this day of the week.
Yeah.
It's also like, I think psychologically in people's heads, if you have something every week, then like it also feels like, oh, I can, yeah. Maybe it starts to feel like a chore over time psychologically, and there's also a level of like, oh, I have this other thing on this Tuesday night. I can move this one thing because, like, hell, we're practicing next week too, or whatever.
Yeah, I see
and
what
it's
you're
almost
saying.
like if you try to do that with 5 people, you go from every Wednesday to like one Wednesday out of the month or whatever.
That's definitely been.
I don't know. It's always a huge challenge.
John has a unique. We're just going to talk about John most of this.
Yeah.
John has a unique ability to like compartmentalize, and he can like shift gears. Like even in the show that we played, I think he played 3 times that night because he could do that. Like he can play trumpet and keys at the same time because he's a
Yeah, it's kind of wild.
psychotic human. So, so John's like uniquely good at this, like in that he can shuffle projects like that. But it's definitely one of them things that in a perfect world we'd get together every day. But you know, I will say this: a cool thing about the album, some I'm definitely very proud of, is there were a couple songs on that album, although we did have pandemic times to rehearse often. At least 2 songs in particular were, I mean, maybe we played them twice before we went in there.
Really?
And so those songs ended up being like my favorites. So that's a weird discovery too. Yeah.
So I am
talking
curious.
about You Win.
Yeah.
Was that one of those?
Yeah, it was.
So I am curious about that as well. Before we dive into that, what is the writing process like with you guys?
It's probably going to be different going forward because, you know, most of these songs, I wrote most of these songs like before becoming a band. Some of them during the process of being a band. So a lot of them have that bent to them that they started like here, but the music completely changes when we get to chance to play. So the process to date has been like song ideas, work them with John, get Craig involved. Craig has he even sounds a lot like what's his face from Pink Floyd. He has this knack of coming up with these little like earworms in songs that end up being like the song. So the music part of it's definitely collective, but like the structure, the arrangement, to date it's been mostly like starting here and then doing it together.
Okay, cool. And then how, I guess on 2 of the songs you said you only rehearsed them twice before you went into the studio. How complete would you say most of the songs are when you go into the studio? And this will be a fun topic. Once you're there, how do the songs change during the recording process?
See, and that is interesting because, again, maybe my favorite song on the album was the one that wasn't as well rehearsed. And there's something about grabbing that sort of like honest, experimental energy, I guess.
You're talking about You Win.
Yeah. I mean, the title track on the album, like, that wasn't something we really practiced. It was kind of like, here's the idea. It's not a really elaborate with regards to like the chord structure. It's really just kind of 2. But
that one didn't really get. It basically got solidified during recording because it's only 2 chords the whole time, and then layers kind of build on those chords. But when we were recording it, we didn't have this exact length set or anything. Nolan actually was doing scratch guitar and vocals, and Nolan was just like giving direction during the take. And it's obviously was cut out, but like when we were actually recording the tracks, Nolan was like, "All right, get louder here," and he was like, "Drum fill, duh, 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 duh," and like all these kind of things.
Wild.
And that's how we got the pacing of that. I don't think that we
definitely
never
not to click. I don't think that was impossible.
It was really like we just decided to do a take, and just Nolan was just kind of narrating how the pacing should go, and it was like, hey, you start here, and then trumpet starts here, and then it kind of felt right as we did that. Then that's the one that we added the most to in post, I guess. So then we kind of built the pacing that way, and then went back and kept adding more shit in like the places where it made sense.
Right.
So it's kind of funny how the end result, it sounds like it was all orchestrated or something, but it really was basically improvised and then like built on top of, I guess.
Did you guys do it in one take?
The music was in one take, but
tracks meaning like drums, bass, guitar, and
keys.
I guess piano. No, I guess organ. But yeah, there was a lot of, probably more than half of that song was overdubbed.
Yeah, I mean,
there's like 12 things happening.
The one thing we knew that, or like John and I had talked about before we went into the studio, I was like, you know what we should do is we should record a fucking choir. And we had like a good laugh about that. And
I was
then
like, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, right.
And then like
Anyway.
So then in the process, John had these like Juan, Bryant, they laid these awesome horn parts. John played some piano. We added that as well. And then we really started like, I couldn't get the thought out of my mind. I was like, I just want to do it. So we did. We recorded a full choir for the song, and it was like, I am just so stoked that we did that, because like we probably didn't have to do that. We could have like done it ourselves, I guess, but I wanted to do that, so we did it.
What do you mean you recorded a full choir?
We recorded a choir. It's layered in there. We shout out to Pulp in Gainesville. They made that happen for us. We networked with there's this really cool organization. They're called 1,000 Voices of Florida, and they are guns for hire. If you need session work or something like that, they can source voices. Most of the voices come from like local gospel churches. Yeah. So it's a great little side hustle for them.
Trademark, you owe us money.
Trademark.
Hey, you owe them now.
But yeah, that was
I'll send
like
you an invoice, don't worry.
No, yeah.
That was definitely, to date, I've been recording music for 10 years. That was the coolest thing I've ever done.
Yeah, of course.
It's pretty amazing,
That's
actually.
so cool. That sounds like Dewey Cox with 1,000 didgeridoos.
It started. Well, so John had the challenge of mixing that
was
song.
basically our version of Dewey Cox.
we definitely like
this is all in
joked
one,
about that.
Is this all in one on that one song?
Yes.
What's the name of it again?
It's the title track. You win.
You win.
You win.
Would it be all right if we played it?
Please. Yeah.
Okay.
sure.
Hear it, and it's from. This is "You Win" from Mr. Cool off their album "You Win." Take a look.
What an amazing song.
That was just an incredible song. Like, through and through. I can't. An entire. How many people were in that choir?
I think we had 8 voices total. Yeah, I'm gonna say there were 8, but then we had us.
And we did, I guess, what we did on a couple of the like the same thing we did with the horns at the climax of the song. I think there was 10 people singing in the takes, but I layered like 6 different takes of them.
Oh boy.
So it sounds like there's probably 60 people. And it only worked at the big part, kind of, because it's like in the mix with everything. You couldn't do that if it was more exposed, but we had them redo the climax like a bunch of times. And since there's so many things in the song, I was like, what? I just wanted to try, see what happened if I just let them all play, and it worked. It sounded like it was one choir of 50 or 60 people, and so I just blended that into the background.
Holy cow!
Oh,
That's such a great idea.
Okay, so
It was only 8 people, but it sounds like
No,
50.
that's
you
enough
know?
people though, so that if you were like to double it or whatever, how many times did you do it?
Probably like at least 3 times.
Something like I think 5 or 6
That's enough. That's
at the peak.
yeah. That's enough like variances that it doesn't sound like you doubled it.
And we had
Right.
different takes too.
That's
So like
genius.
we had
that's what I'm looking
Yeah,
for right
so-
there. So you didn't actually just like keep the like the final take of each one and then double that. You actually use set like different
Right.
takes of the same of the same harmony, whatever it might have been.
Exactly.
Is it, okay.
Because if you doubled the same audio file, it would just be the same thing louder.
yeah, exactly.
But yeah, we used 6 different takes of them doing the same thing. So
Okay.
there's little variances.
subtle
That's cool.
variances, and
Yeah.
it gives it that enormous choral effect.
Right,
Yep.
right.
And again, that's also any of the songs that on the record that have the group horns. That's the same thing we did, where we recorded the 3 horns twice and used both of them kind of panned left and right, so it sounds like kind of a
Cacophony.
like a little ring of 6 horns.
Right, right. Now I'm curious because so on this is gonna get kind of nerdy and boring again. Sorry, guys.
Per usual.
It's something that I kind of realized on this last round with our album was the just exploring the placement of sound in the mix, right? And like you can do all these things like obviously left and right panning, but then you can kind of like if you kind of view it as like looking at the top of a prism or something, like head on, right? And it's like you have this spectrum of sound that kind of just opens up like a triangle, and you can place it like at this point or like, you know, and then every point between here and the end of it, right? So it's like this sound can be a little bit more up front or this sound can be a little bit more behind, and it's like the way you place all these things can really kind of have a crazy effect on the experience that you're having as a listener, you know?
Yeah.
100%. Man.
Dude,
That
it's funny you say that. When I was working on UN, I spent a night basically beating my face on the desk trying to do this because there were so many things, and I still have the page at home. I drew this giant diagram of the song as a pyramid.
Really?
just like you're saying, and I was like trying to make a little diagram of where everything goes.
Yeah, it's wild, right? I mean,
it helped to think of it that way. That's kind of because
weird
that
to think
really
of
is how the
sound
sound
visually strange, but it's
Yeah.
a thing.
it was just
It's interesting.
yeah, it was just this weird kind of like thing that I don't know when I spent a lot of time in
Second
the
cheers.
I guess I'll cheers my almost empty glass that Billy didn't save me any alcohol for. It's okay, no big deal.
Just like you got.
No big deal. Yeah, we gotta tap it, right? Thanks, Bill. I said I'll sit here without alcohol the rest of the time. No big deal. Anyways,
Well, if someone's gonna drink, it's gonna be the one listening to you talk about triangles and music or whatever.
Hey man, you said prisms. That's cooler.
What's a prism?
prism. It's basically like a 3-dimensional triangle,
Oh, like Pink Floyd, Dark Side of the Moon.
like a pyramid or something.
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah. So
So just related to that, I would say one of my like an Easter egg in the album if you listen for it. You're not going to be able to catch it unless you're in the headphones because it's splitting, where sound is going. But there was another song on the album called The Last Ride, and there's this separation. It's almost 2 songs. So like the first half is distinctly different than the second half. Like in the middle, it basically like falls off the cliff and becomes this like psychedelic thing. But John and I went back and forth on like the best way to like spatially arrange things. And if you listen for it in headphones, you'll catch it. But one of the things that we had to do, which was it was a little weird. Most of the times where you start a song, things are fixed in space. Your guitar is here in your head, your trumpets are here. And when you're in the you're in the headphones, you can separate them spatially. But to get the thing done that we needed to, we actually decided to pan the guitar from one ear to the other. So that might not come through if you were listening on like the car or something like that, but you can pick it up in the headphones.
Yeah.
It was like a weird choice, but like it's one of my favorite things in the recording.
It's like the possibilities of things like that are endless in the studio, which is why it's so like I just more than anything I love that experience because it's really like there's even things you can do like I was messing with Billy's keyboards on one song where we were like which ultimately he overrode the idea because he didn't like it, but I thought it was pretty brilliant because he's got he's using a synth on this one part and it had it goes from like a low.
It's like a 3-octave scale.
Yeah, but there's also a filter on it that happens like when it's like lower in the lower register versus like in the higher register, and so we were kind of like doing this thing where we were adjusting the volume as it was kind of panning, and then and I don't know, it was this very cool effect that it was just I don't know that I experienced when we were in the room, and then Billy listened back to it, he was like, no, that sounds dumb, let's not do that.
No,
but
I'm not. You're taking me out of context for definitely. I thought it sounded cool too. I just didn't want that.
Yeah.
There's a big difference.
Just didn't want it to sound cool.
No,
yeah,
I
exactly.
didn't want it to sound that way. Like, period. Like, I get what you were doing for sure, but like that's not what I wanted.
But either way, like the idea that there's like these things, it goes so beyond just like performance, where it's like you can really explore the production side of like, let's take out this frequency at this part, but then kind of put it in here, and we can move it from this side to that side, and we can put it like, we can make the listener feel like it's actually happening right in front of them, or we can make it feel like it's an experience that's kind of being had way in the back, and it's just like
it blows my mind too, and I still like
There's a lot you can do.
As much, and as much as like you explain it to me, or the producers, or not producers, sorry, the engineers explain it, I still just can't get. I'm like, but it's still just one waveform. How does it sound like it's behind me? It doesn't make any sense to me.
It
So
just
weird.
does though.
I just
some
don't
of that
understand
mystery,
how it
I'm
makes any
still
sense.
confused. Like,
Yeah.
John, credit to him and some of the awesome engineers we've worked with, like my buddy Nate being one of them. It's amazing how deep you could go into the matrix of changing sound and, like you said, frequencies. It's kind of fucking unbelievable, actually.
It's wild, and it's why I haven't undertaken the task of becoming an engineer, but I like telling the button pushers what buttons to press. I will say that much.
It's a lot easier to be the guy who
Hell
says,
yeah.
do this.
Yeah.
I'm that guy, usually.
Yeah. Well, I mean, that's what...
Somebody's got to know how. Luckily, John's pretty good.
Yeah. I mean, that's kind of... They're they're different skill sets. You like engineers and producers, like people get them kind of like confused, but an engineer can and oftentimes is a producer, but like then there's like this next thing where it's like, well, somebody has to have like this next level idea, maybe a third party perspective, or which is why bringing in like an outside producer is like amazing. But if you don't have that, then just like having someone in the band that's like thinking about things on that level, Yeah,
it's interesting to think of like I guess the two sides of there's a technical side of engineering, and then there's also an element of artistry where there's not necessarily like a right or wrong answer.
Exactly.
And I mean, there's a part of engineering which is truly like the guys that they know all their equipment, they know how to capture the best sound and get all the levels right. And then there's other ways to approach producing that is more like maybe things that might break the rules, but being more creative with things like your panning or your filters or whatever, where I don't know, it's just, I think it's an interesting pursuit because there's both of those sides to it. And I think the best audio engineers that I admire what they do are people that know both of that, and they have like a total mastery of just pure sound quality, but then they can also use it to make interesting experiences, and they can mess with the rules and things like that.
Real fans of music, you know what I mean? Like that's like they're musicians as well, right? It's like I've always made this distinction of like if you don't have to play an instrument to be a musician. You can just like being an artist or a musician is actually just having the idea in your head, and then whatever tool you use to get that out into the universe is just the tool that you're using.
Completely agree.
Whether you're somebody who's creating tracks in Logic or Ableton, whatever it might be, and you didn't touch one quote unquote instrument, but you just made you're a musician. Engineers that kind of maybe they don't create entire tracks or whatever, but they have an ear because they listen to everything, not just listen but dissect on a level that even your average musician's not listening, right? Because like they're hearing all those little things in the production, and then they're studying those things in the way that you would transcribe a solo and like take on little nuances of that particular player, right? They're doing the same thing on the production end of it. And they come in and you're recording a record and it's like, hey, we should try this or we should try that. And not only should we try that, I actually know how to make that happen, right? I can actually push the right buttons to do that exact thing, and it will take me no time at all. Those are artists as well, and the best people to have on your side,
There's like there is a fine line too with all that stuff, like where, I don't know, in a weird way, sometimes knowledge is a barrier or something also at times too. So I agree with kind of what you were saying, which is, or maybe you said it. It got said that there's the artistry of the engineer and the technical know-how, and then there's the thinking outside of the box aspect to things. Right. And sometimes in that, even in music, I think, and even in songwriting, there can be kind of forced, I don't know, you get trapped sometimes in your own knowledge where you're like, okay, this is outside of that structure, or that doesn't make sense. And sometimes like that's a barrier. And Jon's pretty great because he's so studied musically, but he also has a spark too, so he doesn't get stuck in that box. And I'm less studied musically, so I can lean more into just feel and stuff like that.
Right.
And I would agree that it takes both almost equally.
100%, man. Even on the like you said, like the writing side, the partnership of somebody that has like the know-how of the theory and like what actually works and what actually doesn't. Or sometimes it's like what I noticed as I've become more learned as a musician, where it's like, okay, this idea that you have, I know I think this is what you're trying to do, right? It's like you play this one thing and it's like, that's not quite the right sound you're going for, but I know what you're going for, and then you can do that thing. It's like there's having that aspect, but as well as somebody willing to kind of push the envelope to say, it's like, it doesn't matter what I've learned or what I've heard before, this actually does sound cool, right? And whether it's on it works in the same way in production as it does in songwriting, and that's a great partnership to have, I think.
I think that's our partnership, because I get like furious when it doesn't make sense. Like I fight back so hard.
Yeah, you do. It's so annoying.
No, I know, but then he's like, just try it anyway. It's like, fine. And then I play it. I'm like, all right, that sounds pretty good.
Yeah, but the thing is
but
that
it takes a real man to admit his own faults.
It does, and here's
maybe maybe just let a couple go. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying?
Okay, here's what I'll also say about you though, right? Is that
Go ahead.
because you're very classically trained, so
Classically trained.
so I mean at least for a
most
semester at UNF,
Classic,
right?
dude.
I failed out of music school. That didn't mean I fucking
Okay.
learned the classical.
So
whatever. Fuck you.
So when I present something,
What's up?
I'm looking at it from a sense of like more of like a jazz perspective.
I was gonna say Dave Matthews, but keep going.
Yeah. Whereas
Same thing, dude.
where when you look at something, it's like, okay, how does it relate to the root of the key that we're in?
Yeah.
And I don't think about it that way. I'm like, okay, well, we can like this thing can be anything in whatever context.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
It
And if you
does.
know how to get it to that point, then
No.
that's the
And I'm
important thing.
working on.
You're
that.
working on it. We're working on
about.
it. I'm gonna fix you, Bill. Don't worry.
No, it's not that. When I start writing music, or
Don't worry, he'll fix you.
even
I'm
at
gonna fix
a
you.
rehearsal. And this is good because we're doing this podcast after rehearsal late at night. You know, we just had a rehearsal before y'all came over, but we were working on something today.
Yeah.
But I really don't get like angry about things except for like when I'm concentrating on something very, very fiercely, and it's to everybody around me. It looks like I'm getting very, very angry, but I guess I am, but I can't help it. It's only because I'm concentrating like so hard about it, and it's so intense to me that I'm like, no, fucking, it's not gonna fucking work. Don't do that. And
Yeah.
I sound very angry.
I had a chance to, in a different iteration of my other group, play with this really incredible cellist. Shout out to Sam Shin. And the first half of his musical life was spent, he was in a touring orchestra. They like toured the world. What an experience, you know. And I mean, he's such a phenomenal player. He's immensely classically trained, but he got to a point where he just was like, I want to create and outside of the frame. So we were lucky enough to play with him, but it was interesting because some of those like things like you're talking about where it's like your brain just goes, well, wait a minute.
Yeah.
You know, it's like that's so real because there are rules. But I just in the case of what Sam had said to me even, he refused to ever play anything pre-composed again. He would only play improvisationally. So that was a challenge recording-wise because we would
It's a
never
bold decision.
It is.
It is a bold
but he
decision.
stuck to it as a principle, and I'm sure still feels that way. So even in the studio, we would never get the same take again. It was, but I mean that's like a principle that he lives by. But it is interesting because it's like when you have the weight of all that knowledge, like you have, I could totally see that being a tension point when
Man,
creating.
really, at some level, I've always felt like that was one of the main dichotomies in music is the give and take of like technical mastery and pure creation, because they're like they affect each other, but they're very different things, and lots of people have a ton of one or a ton of the other, and it's hard to say which one is like, you know, you need both of them.
You need
I
both
guess
of them,
is
yeah.
my point. And although if I had to pick, I prefer to listen to people that have creativity. But
Well, because you have
But
the
it's
other
just
side
interesting,
to balance
I've-
them out, right?
yeah, I mean, yeah, I've always thought that's an interesting kind of give and take of music, and so many different artists I find have different ratios of that, and my favorite are always people that are squarely in the center. You know, I like people that know how to break the rules and are very spontaneous, but they still have the technical mastery, and you can tell that they're using that as a tool. They're manipulating the notes at their will because they have that skill, and then they're using that to create.
I
And
think
that's really like that perfect fusion of those two things.
100%. 100%.
honestly, I feel like Alex is a lot like that. He's got like a firm grasp on both. You're a lot like that.
He's a
too.
beast. Alex
Yeah.
is a beast.
There's a theory when it comes to music is really I mean, it's just that, right? It's theory. It's a roadmap. It's not the.
That's a good point. It's called theory.
Yeah,
That's a good point.
It's just that, and it's a
It's
roadmap.
not law.
Yeah, it's not a law, and it like, you know, we can look at maps, and as we all know, that maps that were created, you know, 100 years ago are completely outdated now, right? Because we've figured out new pathways to get to different places. Some that are better than others, but either way, that's the creativity, and that to me is what it's all about. It's like the artistry exists in those unexplored pathways, and I think that it's on us as artists to explore those things and use, like, when we're lost and we're just in the woods in the middle of nowhere, we have no idea where to get, like, how to get home, then we look back to the map and we say, okay, here's where we're at, let's figure out the way to get to this destination, right?
Because the people that came, or I'm sorry, like the rules of music or whatever, like it's just some people that came up with that.
Like, the rules.
And we're just like, all right, well, we're just following what you came up with.
Yeah, I mean, there is
good.
a certain science to how we hear sound and how the idea of tension and release, right? Which is why, like, some things even like just work better than others, right?
Yeah.
But, like, at the same time, there's, if we're in the key of E major, we don't need to like whatever, like going to C minor on the bridge is just not the only option, right? Like, we can do all kinds of things. C sharp minor on the bridge.
It hurt my head when you said it. This is what happened.
Like, that sounds
And
cool.
I was about to get angry, though. And
Sorry.
you're like,
That
yeah,
would be cool,
Mr.
bro.
Cool over here is like, yeah, that sounds good. Me, I'm like, no, you can't do that.
Yeah, that's right. No, and I
Get
know.
so angry.
Yeah, there's just and even the more fun part of that whole thing is, how do we, like, let's say we are in E, right, and we go to C minor, as I made the mistake.
Don't do that, kids. Don't listen to him.
How do we get there?
Don't do it.
Right? Do it. Fucking do it. Why not? You're a fucking artist, right? What are we doing this for? You're trying to learn fucking journeys.
Play in C minor. You're an artist, aren't you?
Yeah, right. You try to fucking learn Don't Stop Believing, or you trying to, like, be a fucking artist.
Every one of those notes is out of key. Like, that's gonna sound
But there's
so
a way.
bad.
But there's a way to get there, though.
Okay.
That's the point that I'm trying to say. Is that there's a way to get there.
Yeah.
Right, and it's been done before, and it won't be
Sure.
the last time that it's done. And I just think that it's to explore the option is just, it's important as an artist to do. You
That's
know.
what I want to explore, all the options.
Yeah.
I really do.
And don't get so resistant
I-
and mad at me when I'm trying to
No.
take you on a sonic journey.
No,
bro.
what I'm trying to say is realize who I am as a person, and I'm just gonna get a little bit.
This guy likes
Irish rage.
This
when it
guy
comes
likes
to things I
folding
love.
clothes for a hobby. Of course, he likes just fucking
Yeah.
sticking to the
I
roadmap.
love-
You know,
I
it's
That
love-
can't be true.
No, it's true.
I love folding clothes. That's one
You
of my favorite
enjoy
things.
folding clothes.
I do. I'm like the only one. It wasn't unpopular.
And you would have loved to be me today.
I like folding clothes.
I did that a lot.
If we lived close enough to each other, I would empower your passion.
Yeah.
Damn, I should take you up on that, dude.
yeah,
If
empower
anybody wants to come to my house, and I'll fold your clothes. I don't care what they are. If
doesn't-
they're clean. If they're clean.
And you don't have to pay him anything. He's just doing it for the
I love
exposure.
it. I also
Yeah.
I love mowing lawns. That's one of my favorite.
I'll
things
cheers
to
to
do.
my empty glass because Bill didn't put any in here. It's fucking great. bro.
Fold my clothes and mow my lawn.
Yeah, I will. I do. Yeah.
Dude, let's chat.
I'm-
Do
I-
you take-
chat.
You'll be receiving an email.
No, yeah. I was trying to think of some sort of, like, I don't know,
Your interview has gone well.
Yeah.
those
We'll be in
tasks
touch.
where it's the same thing over and over again, and to me, I just treat it as like a game.
No deviation.
And then somebody was like, maybe you have OCD, and I was like, no.
No, I get it though. In truth, there's something very therapeutic about simple tasks that make something chaotic become orderly.
No, I know.
It's good for your brain, and where I feel that the most is actually, like, I think maybe I'm unique in this, but because everybody else hates it, but after a gig, I like wrapping cables.
I was just about to say that.
It's nice, right?
I literally told Chelsea that last night. Yeah.
I don't like the shit after that where you have to, like, stack all the heavy boxes and
hate that.
push things around on wheels. That's just necessary work. But the cable wrapping part, I'm like, this is good for me. It's like therapeutic.
100%. I
It's
love that
very
part.
satisfying that they're all tangled up. You like,
Untangling.
you find one, you grab the whole thing, make it a nice little circle.
Yeah.
You've just made the world that much better.
I hope you're doing
Exactly.
over-under technique with your cables.
Hell yeah, I am.
All right, that's
That's
all that matters.
I would probably like
true.
rolling up cables, but
important.
no one taught me the right way to do it, and I'm so bad. I'm
Yeah.
so bad at
I
wrapping
hate it when you
cables.
wrap my cables.
So bad.
Dude,
you,
if
got
you-
you have the most
if you
cables
fold my
out of all of
clothes,
us.
I'll
I
wrap
know.
your cables.
I'm so I mean, that's
John
a good
just
fucking
cancel all of
deal.
his-
I'll
John
fold
just
your
cancel
Billy's
all of
like,
his
hell
cables.
yeah, let's do it.
Sold.
I'm so good at it too.
Have you ever tasted heaven in a glass? Do you pine for the hoppiest brews and palest ales? Do you like food? If so, then Wicked Barley is the oasis that your mouth has been wishing for, walking into the complete barren wasteland that is your life. Wicked Barley is located in Jacksonville, Florida, nestled on the banks of Good Piece Creek. Wicked Barley aims to provide its guests with a wicked experience, offering over 18 house-brewed beers, ciders, and meads on tap. They also have an expansive gastropub-style food menu, including burgers, salads, sandwiches, and more. Whether you are a newcomer or a craft beer connoisseur, there's a little something for everyone at Wicked Barley. Visit them at 4100 Bay Meadows Drive and tell them Bottom of the Bill sent you.
There's also like something I don't know. I was listening to like another podcast. I'm a devout fan, but I do listen to other podcasts.
Man, wow,
Another
bro.
podcast?
I did.
There's
I
other
listened-
podcasts.
There are others, not as
Fuck,
good.
dude.
But the one I was listening to,
Billy thought that him and Anton invented podcasting.
He did think that because that's just how his brain
I'm
works.
sorry to burst your bubble.
What do
there
you
are
mean?
others. Like
Anyway.
which came first is the classic question. But,
Right.
The one thing I heard and it was interesting is that, and I'm shout out to nobody because I don't remember which one or what.
Shout out to nobody.
Hey, shout
real
out.
quick.
That's a song title. I'm writing that down.
Probably
I was just gonna say that's an album.
I'm
name,
doing
but
that
it's a
right
song
now.
title
Shout out to nobody.
But it was interesting what was said in the podcast was like that like whoever it was said that they were the most creative, and I also thought this is true when they were doing the most mundane things, and that's why they said
It's on the
that-
list.
That's why they
I
said
want to
that
see
like
that list.
their best,
share some.
most like interesting ideas come to them when they're in the shower
Yeah,
or when
that's
they're
real.
driving.
it's true.
Because you're in this like mindless activity, your brain somehow has like free form to think outside of the activity. I don't know why that is, but
That's
like the
real.
most mundane activities open the box creatively.
Yeah.
Maybe that's what it is. Because whenever I'm doing those things, like I am concentrating, but I'm like my brain is like so far out.
Yeah.
It's like, hey, I can focus on one thing and then I can actually think about other things.
That's the
but
thing.
I love driving so much. That is probably my other favorite pastime.
Is that your thing that you have to pay attention to that just makes your brain go somewhere else? Because that's very dangerous.
No, not at all. But it is true that when you are driving, that you go into a hypnosis.
Yeah.
Same thing with mowing your lawn too. You're just like, I just mowed this lawn, but I don't remember doing it.
Think about that for a second, though, right?
It's like coloring.
Like
Yeah.
Same idea.
The experience of driving, right? I mean, like, think about you going on like an empty highway, right, at 80 miles an hour.
What's up with that? That
Humans
sounds great.
just aren't supposed to go that fast. Of course, we're in a bit of a hypnosis. We're actually traveling through space and time at a much more rapid rate than we're supposed to be traveling through. And not only that, but like when you're the one driving, you're in control of the vehicle. It's not like being on a plane where you're going 500 miles an hour or whatever, where like where you forget that you're moving. It's like in the car where you're like in control of the thing and you're like going that fast. It's like a thing, man. It's like you just like time and space is kind of like,
It's odd.
I don't know. Yeah.
Somehow I feel like as I've gotten older that drives of the same length feel shorter than they used to.
Oh, 100%.
Because now I live in Jacksonville and I go to St. Augustine damn near every day. Like 4 times a week I feel like I drive to St. Augustine. And that used to feel like forever, and now it feels like it takes 10 minutes.
It's a fucking drive down the road. What's it? Just a block up the street.
I don't
Yeah,
feel
like I'm
that
always
way.
surprised when I get there, and it's been an hour, but it doesn't feel like it.
Yeah. Oh, I'm sorry. I just want to say this. I want to say this about Billy
Go
real
ahead.
quick.
What's up?
You said that you don't feel that way, and
I don't.
I want to just kind of like highlight this moment is that because you've decided in your life that an hour is just an hour,
Yeah.
right? You can't just adapt to the fact that like an hour is not that long now because I drive an hour every single day. It's just an hour to you, like that's the amount of time, and that's just like you can't allow yourself to feel like it's any shorter, right? That's how your brain
What?
works.
Yeah,
get
have you seen Bill and Ted? Do you know how time travel works? Yeah, it's an hour.
Yeah, but what I'm
What are you
saying is
talking
69,
Yeah,
dudes.
yeah, 69.
But what I'm saying is though, it's like when you do something often enough,
Yeah.
like especially when you're driving for like an hour or 2 hours, that amount of time, that amount of time seems like it's less and less, even though it's not. It just seems that way. For you, it doesn't seem any different. You know what I mean? It's just like you've just decided it's always gonna feel that way.
What is your point?
As opposed to just
what are we
adapting.
even talking about anymore?
I'm just
This
saying.
is supposed to be
What
on
the hell are you
music.
talking about?
Yeah, I'm just saying that your willingness to see things a specific way and be unyielding in that viewpoint is all I'm saying.
Yeah, man.
Don't be
you hear what he's
unyielding when you
saying?
come to a yield sign.
What? God damn.
I would
that was
say,
a
just to
great
bring it
dad
back to
joke.
driving,
Thank you.
that,
That was
uh,
amazing.
You're welcome.
Somewhere along the line, I've become way too casual about driving because I've caught myself like, and sorry to a lot of people who have ridden with me, like, I do a lot of other things besides paying attention to driving.
Yeah.
So like that is a problem. Like maybe we shouldn't be so mindless in that activity. So I'm trying to improve on that because like I'm on my phone doing shit I
Definitely shouldn't.
Man,
be doing.
should
you know,
be paying
I,
attention to the road.
Yeah.
This is almost something that people don't talk about, and I'm not saying that it's okay, but I did hear a comic one time say something.
Shout out to nobody.
Yeah, exactly. Something along the lines of like, it's 2019 or whatever year it was. They're like, if you can't text and drive without dying, then you just lose.
That was.
That's a
I thought it was. I think it was
that's
Darwinism,
a
is that what
unpopular
you're saying?
opinion.
I think that's
and
Rory
I'm like,
Scovel,
look,
actually.
I'm not necessarily saying that that's right. I'm not telling anybody. I'm not saying you should do that. I'm not proud of the times
Like,
that
not
I've
proud
done
of
that,
it.
but we all do it. Everybody
it can be
does
done.
So basically, adapt or die, bitches.
Yeah,
That's what we're saying. Hashtag.
we live in a
Exactly.
world of texting and driving.
Yeah. So I mean, yeah, I'm on board.
Shout
with
out to all those that put their
We all-
phone on airplane mode when
We
they
all
get in the
try
car.
not to do it, but it's like trying not to eat too many candy bars. It's like
Or like
you're
it's,
not gonna be perfect.
It's like trying to like not take a piss when you're taking a shit. You know what I mean?
What?
That's
I don't think that's
it's not
the same
exactly what I
thing.
had the way
For
I was
the
thinking
win.
of it.
It's basically
For the
but
win.
It's basically
I get
just
what you
like
mean.
it's basically
that
just,
would be even harder.
Yeah.
I mean that's even more difficult.
It's basically just
That's
an
just
action
not
that you-
possible.
It's just not possible, right? So it's just when you're driving.
I see what you're saying.
You're gonna send a text message. Period. As soon as I sit in the driver's
I
seat,
get
I'm
what
just
you're
like,
saying.
oh, now I'm gonna answer all those unanswered text messages.
Like,
I got
I'm
time.
gonna answer this person in an hour. Yeah, right.
Yeah.
I'll forget.
Yeah, I'll forget. No, that's 100% true, though. 'Cause I actually will forget, and that's a problem.
Yeah.
That means more to me. That whatever money I lost out on for forgetting to answer that text means more to me than my life in the moment. Just going to put it out there.
It's just like pissing when you're shitting.
Right.
Just like
man.
pissing when you're
Just
shitting.
gonna
I-
happen.
Song title.
Song title.
Hey, this is our new single. Just like pissing when you're shitting. 1,
I
2,
was-
3, 4.
You guys want to start a new band? We've got all these great ideas.
Yeah. I've got some great album names also, by the way.
Cool.
By the
Name
way,
one- name
I'm
one.
just gonna say
I
that
have them written down.
if anybody does want to hear any of my song title
Yeah,
list, I won't say no.
You guys pull it up. What do you got? I'll pull up my band name list and we see. We can go
We'll have a
toe
little
to toe.
competition.
Yeah,
It's gonna
what
be
do you
like
got?
fucking 2 hours right here.
There you go.
I'm looking
I'll-
at this and it could be 2 hours.
I'm not gonna read the entire list.
What if-
I'll
what
try to
if-
find the highlights.
What if we swap? What if we swap and then
Highlights
you
right at
two
the top.
you two talk amongst yourselves and you pick the best ones and I'll you have mine and then see what they are and then I'll look at yours
What?
and pick the best ones.
Wait,
Literally,
who should read which one?
I'm saying swap. Here's my phone.
You read the okay.
And I'll
now I
read yours.
understand.
Friendly
now
swap.
you talk about I don't know.
At the top, I
fucking
said it. I
jazz or
thought it
something.
said brand
Jazz.
names,
Okay, well then,
which is nice.
brand names.
Then maybe don't talk into
Wow,
the microphone while we're
yours
talking
is like
amongst
mine
ourselves.
too, where it just starts with. Never mind. This is
All right,
great.
so then you guys hop off the microphones.
this is so good.
I'm gonna talk to Nolan about how he actually brought this album to market because I'm very curious about Bill.
This is so good. Sorry.
You're still talking to the
I know,
microphone.
Okay, I'm sorry.
Okay.
I like the name Carrie Lost a Bet.
This is great. I love this.
That is a good one.
So Nolan, I actually am curious as to how you brought. Did you guys have a strategy when you brought this album to market, or you just kind of like released it and just hope for the best?
Back
That was
blood.
the other like challenge of last year was some of the strategy kind of like just went out the window. There was no, the idea initially is we were going to do a big set it off album release show, something like that. But that was kind of where we got to that decision of like, let's just put the album out
at the same time.
Because there was no right or wrong way to do it at that
Scuba
point.
doo.
It was just, we made this music.
This is such a bad idea. Let's put this away. I'm
Two
so sorry.
podcasts at the same time.
This is such a bad idea. I'm so sorry. I thought it would be fun.
Yeah, it's not fun.
It's not.
It is fun.
I was trying to be creative, and now you're.
Hey man, shout out to
That is
nobody.
true.
You just shout out to nobody. You're putting me in a box, and I don't like it.
Putting you in a box.
I know. I know. I feel bad. He's
There's nothing to feel bad about.
I
Yeah.
know. I feel really bad.
There's a cap to how bad I feel right now. I'm just gonna say.
No, it's definitely it was definitely like a challenge to figure out how to put the music out when we couldn't play shows, or like when putting a show together was taboo,
Right.
which was a whole nother thing. So yeah, we had a strategy going into it, making the album, what we wanted to do, and then again we were like, let's just fucking put the music out and ride the wave after that. So I think now one of the things that we're interested in the most is setting up our own shows, only doing shows that we want to do, kind of making a chance to play more of an exclusive event, less like repetitious. And we have a really cool show, I'll throw it out now, that we're setting up November 27th. We're trying to bring the block party back, or the idea of a block party back. We're doing it in Volano Beach.
Nice.
And we've put together a really awesome build. Literally, I think either today or yesterday, we were just talking about how we want to do the same concept here in Jacksonville. So definitely, let's chat it up, because I think what we want to do is set up shows regionally where we invite other original music bands, bring everybody together for big block parties. And that's kind of the way we want to go about spreading the good word on the music, is doing it live. It exists online everywhere, so plug it as we can. But yeah, that's like November 27th.
Hell yeah.
is the next big one.
Do you guys have an event page made on a Facebook, or like stuff going out on Instagram or anything?
We don't have an event page made yet. We probably should and will. If you check us out on Instagram, which
The flyer of it is out there.
the flyer
to be
exists.
found.
Our
Does
Instagram
exist.
plug real quick is follow Mr. Cool. Easy enough. Kind of right on the nose.
Yeah.
Hey, what does that mean?
So you can follow Mr. Cool by literally follow Mr. Cool. And if you do, you'll see the event flyer. And there's going to be more. I mean, we're getting involved with a lot of different local organizations, because that's another thing I believe in too, is like these shows, at least the ones we want to set up, the idea is involving community.
Yeah.
And I put together a festival a few years ago before coronavirus, where the idea was celebrating just St. Augustine in general. So we put together the STA festival, and we raised like, I want to say like $10,000-$12,000 for
Wow.
local area charities. So each event that we do, that's another big part of it, is we want to like enrich the community where it happens. So for this block party, there's a couple different really awesome organizations that we want to raise money for in the process. The Sea Turtle Conservatory is one of those. We're going to be donating money to them. So there's a lot of details forthcoming as we get closer to November 27th. So follow Mr. Cool if you want to check any of that out.
Awesome. Hell yeah, man.
Besides a block party consisting of a lot of bands, like what else does that consist of? Sorry, my not coming up with good words right now.
Hard hitting question, Bill.
I know.
What does the event consist of?
Yeah, I mean, like, so a block party in my mind is like it's gonna be at like several venues, almost like one of those festivals that's like at like just only at music venues, not like out in a field somewhere.
So this is what we want to do, though, is we want to take the power, not like take the power, that's a weird thing to say, but the venues are kind of like in control.
Rage Against the Machine is the headliner, by the way. And they are going to play Take the Power Back.
Fuck yeah.
But this block party is going
They're
to
not.
be a traditional block party. It's going to be in a neighborhood, so it's not going to be involved with any venue. It's going to literally be where our guitar player lives,
Okay.
and we are going to transform the block. So we have food trucks coming, we have vendors joining us, all the bands involved. The idea is come support those bands, come to the show, have a good time.
I think what we haven't mentioned yet for anybody listening is that it's an all-day thing involving 9 bands, and that there's bands every hour from noon to 10 o'clock.
Oh, hell yeah.
And I think that's the same thing that we want to do in Jacksonville too.
Yeah, and if we do, and I'll chat you up on that.
But it
man.
will be a
Please
full
do.
day event.
We want to do that a bunch. So this coming year, we're going to set up a lot of these shows, and hopefully each show provides exposure for all the bands involved, does a good thing locally for whatever community we're in, and is just like, I don't know, like an old school idea. Like your community can have its own event. You don't have to go to the venue to see music. You can make that happen on your block, and
You can just decide to play music
Yeah.
and decide to invite people to it, which I kind of forgot that was possible.
Yeah,
and it
like you're
turns out
allowed to do
it
that.
is.
Yeah. I'm
You're allowed to.
Is this like what are the HOA fees on this?
correct. So there's like
Yeah.
also probably a good idea is don't do it where an HOA exists.
Yeah. I was gonna say,
Which is probably key. You can't pop that off in the suburb near you necessarily. If
Yeah.
you did, you might need explicit permission, but luckily where we're doing it, we have a really friendly community environment.
Okay.
And it's kind of a unique, perfect situation. So November 27th, you'll have nothing to do after Thanksgiving like the rest of us. Come out to the block party in Villano Beach
Hell
for
yeah.
sure.
Where are you gonna be playing, like physically, like inside of a house or?
The setup
Basically
couldn't
a
be like, yeah, it's going to be a driveway show. So it's
Cool.
pretty cool because the driveway is a natural stage. It's up on a hill.
Okay.
It's a really
that's awesome.
neat situation. The house is right on the corner of 2 streets, so it's at the corner. So the driveway itself is somewhat of a roundabout or a half moon. So the bands can set up there, and it's like a natural stage, so we don't have to build one. So it's kind of like a perfect situation. The house is perfect, and everybody's playing along in the
Man,
neighborhood.
That's really interesting, man.
Yeah, it's
for
very
sure.
Should
cool.
we be like sharing the address or?
Not yet. So that's a key thing too. Is in order to like go to the show, we're kicking around some different ideas. But you guys have probably all heard of like So Far Sounds.
You have to go on
Oh,
a
yeah.
Stuff like
scavenger
that.
hunt to find the address.
Yeah. So we want to do some like some maybe not a scavenger hunt, but we want to do
Okay,
something.
fine.
Idea turned out.
John found the yield sign.
Yeah.
Oh no.
But maybe. So yeah, we wanna make sure that the address is given out to people who are really interested in coming, and there might be a way to do that. Maybe it's like a donation to one of the charities involved, or we're still sorting all that out. But eventually the address will be available to everyone who wants to go.
Hell yeah, man. It sounds awesome. Very cool.
We'll do it in Jacksonville too, if you guys.
Yeah.
Oh, would love to, man. Absolutely. Keep us posted
Wanna
about
join
that.
us?
For sure.
I think the best location for a block party in Jacksonville, you just gotta
I have an idea.
Oh yeah.
I'll
Oh,
share it.
well, your idea is better than mine, so let me say mine
No,
first,
go for it.
and then you can just be like, "No, that's awful. Here's what we really should do." But you just gotta find like a scummy landlord. You know what I mean? And then just be like, "I've got like 3 or 4 houses on this street that I bought. No one's living in." I'm like, "All right, that's an all access block party. Like, we just have a band in every house." Oh, and a band in every house.
That's great.
And abandoned every house.
Yeah.
Wow.
That's pretty deep
Anyways,
right there.
what was your idea for Jackson? Because that was stupid.
I mean, I don't know. Like the Riverside area has some cool places you could do something. So
Yeah.
Totally.
I definitely would solicit y'all's advice. Y'all are closer to the area, but that's what I was thinking. Somewhere in Riverside.
Hell yeah.
I don't know what kind of situation. I don't know what kind of permissions would be involved, but the Four Corners Park in Murray Hill might be a kind of neat place to have something like that.
I was also thinking of a park in Riverside,
Wow.
so maybe we should come together.
Let's chat.
All right, so one more thing before we move on to unpopular opinions, I think that I wanted to ask you was about the streaming stuff. Because you guys have gotten some, you guys got your streaming numbers up on Spotify, I've noticed, and I'm curious as to how you were able to make that happen.
You know, that was really cool because right out the gate, one of our tunes, Grateful, really just like shot up. It got added. It kind of spread like wildfire, and I'm still trying to sort it out exactly, but yeah, it got added to a couple different playlists, and those playlists sponsored additional ads because there are different Spotify promoters that kind of troll looking at playlists for new music.
Right.
So one of the things you can do as a new musician is reach out ahead of time to the ones who sponsor certain playlists, which I have a relationship with some individuals who have playlists that feature new music, and Grateful was one of those songs that just kind of caught, and it really kind of caught like wildfire, got added a lot all at once, and we've been spreading the word, and it's been pretty organic, so I'm really encouraged by that because in the new day and age of music, that's a good thing, is to be popping off on Spotify specifically.
100%.
Yeah.
Even though the royalties suck.
Although I listen to Apple Music. Am I the only one that
No,
does that?
our bass player was talking about that too. He's like, I hate Spotify, and I'm like, what is the difference?
I feel like so I would be
One of
on
them's
that
green.
side. I would be like
That's about
the Apple guy because I guess you do have to pay for that too. Never mind.
Yeah.
Yeah, you got to pay for one or the other, and no one's paying for both unless you're like,
A psychopath.
ooh, he got money. Yeah,
Yeah.
sort of that sort of thing. But yeah.
Anyone who does dig our music, thank you again for having us. This is another one of those opportunities. Please do check us out. Check out the album on Spotify or wherever you listen to music.
Absolutely check out the music. It's a great album, and I love the songs you guys have put together, and I love what you guys are doing for sure.
Thanks, man.
Absolutely.
And the block party, November 27th.
Yes, November 27th. At
Please
an
do.
undisclosed
Save the
Saturday
date.
after Thanksgiving, so we know everybody's gonna be off, hanging out with their families. Should be a good time.
Got no excuse to not go. We don't know where it's
The
happening.
weather
yet,
should
but-
also be good too. Like
You don't know how to get there, but you better be there.
But you better be there.
just save the
kidding.
date. Key.
Yeah, it would be
Yeah.
very. Never mind. I was gonna make a really bad joke that I just already knew wasn't gonna land, so I'm just
No,
gonna
that's
stop
all
myself
right.
right now.
Try to crash this plane, but
I
let's
thought
hear
it was funny.
You thought?
It was good. It got
Appreciate
cut.
the
Sorry,
support.
the camera went out.
All right. So unpopular opinions.
Yeah, let's do it. I got 3, believe it or not.
I got 3 also. You guys know about the I know you know already. You know
I
about
thought of
Nolan?
one today because I knew that this was gonna be part of the show.
Perfect. I love it. All right. So we'll do our 3 first, and you guys will go at the end.
I'll buy Nolan some time.
Thank you.
Bill, what you got?
You want me to go first? All right.
Always.
Gonna get my unpopular opinions out. This is my song that I got. So many.
Is that John's phone or your phone?
This is my phone.
That swap really made it.
I am sorry about that.
High likelihood of confusion.
Hi. Yeah, you really couldn't copyright that swap, actually.
No, I know. I flew too close to the sun. I was digress for sure. Okay, this is one of the best ones I've ever had. Are you? And I'm really sorry. You grew up in the church? Are you still Christian?
No, I mean like I went to church as a kid. Yeah.
Okay, cool. And I assume you're not. All right. Anyways, I wish the rapture would happen so everyone would leave. Yeah.
It's a good one. Solid
Straight
one, Bill.
up, just go home. Like you hate it here. We hate you here too. Just go
Yeah.
home. End of story.
All
You
right.
ruin it for everybody. You can't. I don't even want to get political with it. Just go home.
Well, you kind of did with the unpopular opinion, right?
Well, no, I know. I mean, like I could say a lot of other things that are making it bad, but I don't. Just just I would love for you to get what you wanted.
Does that imply that you would stay, but everyone else would leave?
Without a doubt, I would stay.
Yeah.
Only you?
Yeah, just no. Sorry, everybody that I don't like would go.
Oh, I get it.
Anybody that believes in the rapture,
I get
basically.
it.
Yeah, everyone is holding evolution back. Anyways, go ahead. Number 2.
You guys have any thoughts on that, or before we move on here? This is a
Seems-
deep one.
It's like something I agree with. In a lot of
Yeah,
ways.
right?
I don't,
You guys
I don't
all
know.
agree
I
with that?
kind of agree with that.
Yeah.
This opinion might turn out to be too popular for
Yeah,
this
it's
segment.
almost a little
Billy's
too
got
popular.
a lot
Yeah,
of
right.
popular, unpopular opinions. One of them was he likes TikTok, and I was like, Where literally half of the world, that's an actual stat, uses TikTok.
That's not what I
Hey,
said.
unpopular opinion. I like eating pizza.
Yeah. Quite literally the same thing.
And unpopular opinion. When I get home from a hard day of work, I love to lay in bed.
Yeah.
I feel very attacked right now.
You should. Damn,
Yeah,
cool
just I mean,
fucking
like
guy,
you.
bro.
I get what I want. You get what you want. You get to hang out with Jesus up in the sky. Like, there you go.
I like it.
Yeah.
All right, so my first unpopular opinion is that "Smooth" by Santana featuring Rob Thomas is actually a really good song, and I'd actually rather be listening to that right now.
Wow, this is themed.
Just saying.
This is themed. I saw this earlier.
Yeah. I bought him
Wow.
that. I bought him that shirt for his
great.
birthday. Actually,
That's probably the most prepared unpopular opinion.
Yeah, that's
that I've
like-
seen.
Literally thought about it after I put the shirt on.
Hanging
I
on to
saw
that one.
Yeah, I wouldn't actually rather be listening to that song.
Can
or
you
not. I
can
really
you
do
tell me
enjoy this, but
why do you think that that's a good song?
It's got some cool changes.
That the
A
changes.
lot of people thought that was a good song.
Oh my
Yeah.
It was
God.
on
It's-
the radio
It's
quite
very
a bit.
popular. There's actually another popular, unpopular opinion, right?
Did you like the changes when you were 10 when it came out?
No, but I had to learn it as a musician, and I was like, oh, it's kind of cool that happens right
Oh, so
there.
now you like it.
Yeah.
I fucking love that shit.
I liked the song when I was a kid too, though. I thought it was a good
For
song.
the people listening, his shirt says, "I'd rather be listening to the Grammy Award-winning 1999 hit "Smooth" by Santana, featuring Rob Thomas of the. Does this say of the Matchbox 20? Of Matchbox 20 off the multi-platinum album Supernatural.
yeah, it does.
I
You
can't-
haven't even seen the back.
I
Yeah.
can't. I can't believe that T-shirt exists.
Here's the kicker: is that Billy got it for me for my
Yeah.
birthday.
Yeah,
so.
because it was
Hell yeah.
hilarious to me when I first joined the band that you were like, "Yeah, we were gonna we play Smooth by Santana as a cover band." I'm like, "Why?"
But we don't actually play it because
no, not anymore.
Yeah,
But
anymore. We never played it once.
yeah, I played it one
Never
time. I
learned
played it one time with you at Cliff's Bar and Grill.
Oof, let's not talk about that place,
Yeah,
right?
that place sucks. But
Sucks.
I just couldn't believe you. They just wouldn't let it go. It's like, no, the changes are real good. in
No,
this
it's a
song.
cool tune. I like it.
All right. Anyways, second, people who say "bye-bye" on the phone should be locked in a dungeon. I don't. I just say
Again, I would say I agree with that.
Yeah. Okay. All right. Fine. I'm bad at this.
It's more just like insightful opinions. Like I agree with that too.
We're gonna change it to
Insight is often unpopular, so
yeah.
Well said.
Well,
There's
not in
something
Billy's
to that.
case. He says a lot of pretty popular.
I just think
things.
it's weird. You never ever say that phrase ever unless you're on the phone and
That's right.
Right?
You don't say it in front of someone. It happens
I go,
only on the
bye. It just drives me crazy. I'm like,
Let's unpack that for a second.
no, I work at a I
how
work
does that make you feel?
I work at a call center, and that sometimes that happens, and I just want to like just throw my headset into the fucking ocean every time they say that.
Let's all just take a sit in silence and scan that situation.
What about it?
And then just take a moment to sit with that feeling and let's identify what that feeling actually
Which
is.
feeling?
Right? I'm trying to do a thing here, Bill, and you're ruining it.
Oh, sorry.
All right. So my second unpopular opinion, because Bill ruined the moment,
I don't. Well,
is Jimmy. Are you guys familiar with like Widespread Panic or anything like that? You guys like jam bands?
Some-
Never heard of them.
Okay. Well,
I'm joking.
Training style
Uh,
feels great.
Jimmy
dude.
Hearing is the only aspect of Widespread Panic that I think is enjoyable.
That's the guitarist.
John, do you
Yeah.
concur?
You know, to be honest, I haven't listened to them very much.
Okay.
So I don't know. I don't know what to say.
Well,
I
They
don't know
play
what to
the
say.
amphitheater like 3 days in a row
they do.
every year, and it still blows my mind. Like, the following is incredible.
Yeah. Yep. And that's not to say that I don't like any of their songs. There's some songs that I think are very enjoyable, but at the end of the day, it's really just a fucking like 2 hour long Jimmy Hearing wank fest, and he's an amazing guitar player, and especially when he's not playing in Widespread, like in the Jimmy Hearing band or whatever project, it's like this fucking amalgamation of like jazz, fusion, country, funk, like all this shit, and he's like probably one of the greatest guitar players on the planet. Then you hear him
Pretty good.
playing in like a watered down southern rock band, and you're like, like you sound good.
They know how to be a band though.
Oh yeah,
Can't
they're
say
crushing
that.
it.
But you're just saying Jimmy
That
Hearing
day
is the best
3
part.
Yeah, the one part that I really enjoy. He's the part that I
Never
really
missed a
enjoy. about
Sunday
them.
show, dude.
Man, that day
Never missed
3,
Sunday
like
show.
the guy who goes all
That's-
3 days, I'm just like, man, the
dedication.
He's taking like
Incredible.
like
Hey,
musical
I just did that
Viagra.
for the new Tool tour. Not 3, but I am going twice in a row.
Ooh, that sounds like a sensory overload. I
Sounds
feel
like someone Mr. Cool would say, for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, Mr. Cool definitely likes
Mis-
Tool.
And Mr. Cool actually follows Tool around the country on
Yes.
tour.
It's true. Every city that Tool plays at on their tour, we play in the sidewalk outside next to the dumpster while Tool's playing.
Yeah.
We just follow them around the whole
Play
country doing
Tool
that.
songs.
Yeah.
While that
Yeah, you
happens.
guys play Tool songs. Yeah, it's cool. I like that.
But in a Neutral Milk Hotel style.
Ooh, actually,
nice.
I like Tool, but that sounds better. Actually, I'm into that idea.
It would be interesting.
Yeah.
All right, my last one doesn't make any sense unless you know what these two things. Do you like sports?
Love them.
What's
you
that?
do? You watch sports highlights on YouTube all the time?
Not that often.
Yeah, I
but
do.
Yes.
Like I watch
I like the old school highlights. Like I like dipping into that '90s basketball stuff. But go
yeah,
on.
yeah. I'm from Kentucky. I love basketball, but I love watching all the fat people. Fat athletes are my favorite. Bartolo Colon, my favorite. Jared Lorenzen from Kentucky football. He's
Dang,
my
Jared
favorite.
Lorenzen.
You know Jared Lorenzen. All right,
Oh,
nice.
yeah.
Anyways, and then the other part is, do you know what NFTs are?
I wish I didn't.
I'm not trying. Okay, I'm not trying to get into NFTs or anything like that, but you know what it is. All right.
For sure.
I think they should make NFTs of sports highlights.
I think they do.
Wow.
I'm just saying, like,
That opinion just floored me.
right? Like,
Oh, it's an unpopular. Got it.
God damn
Word.
it. I don't know how to do this anymore. After 55, I've had all
No,
these
that one
opinions.
was on the nose. You're
Yeah.
right. Yeah, for sure.
Imagine if you could, like, I own the rights to Michael Jordan's The Shot, you know what I mean? But it's just like the ABC, like, anyways, whatever. This is stupid.
Yeah.
They do that though. Those are
What?
becoming a thing.
The NFTs, right?
The NFTs.
That's the
Oh, yeah,
last
big
thing
time.
that they haven't done. And I was just thinking about, like, holy fuck, you could own Bartolo Colon's only home run he ever hit.
It was
like
just-
the video of it.
It was discussed in the Mr. Cool world. Maybe we should create an NFT or do something in that vein, and we talk about how to do it. Maybe it would just be like taking a Polaroid or something,
Yeah.
and it's a non-fungible. It was a stupid idea. We didn't do it. We
Is it
almost did it.
NFP or NFT? Did I fuck it up?
NFT.
No,
You nailed it.
if it was a non-fungible Polaroid.
Ah, damn it.
That's a good
That's
one.
really good.
Yeah. Nah, that's an unpopular opinion.
No, I know.
Come on now.
I thought mine was. It's pretty. It's
You
know,
did-
just
you did
watch it
good.
become a thing. It will become a thing.
Yeah. You did good.
Anyways, I don't know how the unpopular opinions work anymore.
So
Is it what we've learned?
actually, back to the Tool thing real quick.
Oh yeah, car.
I actually, when I was like 21 or something, I saw. Do you guys know who Rodrigo and Gabriella are? Okay.
No.
So for those who don't know, they're an amazing like flamenco kind of like more modern take on flamenco, but they also travel with a like a full-on band and like orchestra and all that. And I saw them with like they had like huge orchestra and horn section and like this whole thing. And I saw them at the Fillmore in Miami Beach, and the music that was kind of playing in the background while we were waiting for them to go on stage, they had just random shit playing. All of a sudden, The Pop by Tool comes on, and then you start to see like some of the band members walk on stage, and then like the orchestra
It came on the speakers.
on the speakers. Yeah, it was like very like barely even audible, but you could kind of hear it in the background while people were talking and stuff. And all of a sudden, like the band starts to walk on, and they're fucking with their instruments, this and that. Rodrigo and Gabriella are not out there yet, but like the rest of the band's kind of making their way. And all of a sudden, you hear like the orchestra kind of start to play the line, and then like the drummer,
Copyright.
the drummer starts to like kind of play along, and then before you know it, Rodrigo and Gabriella walk out, and the entire band's doing this like crazy flamenco Latin version of The Pop by Tool. And it was fucking like insane.
Sounds crazy.
It was amazing.
That's an unpopular opinion.
What?
That?
No, he just was recounting an experience when he was living in Miami because he's Tony 305.
Yeah.
It's been a
Oh,
while.
Right
Not
on.
from Miami proper.
Mr.
legendary.
Wal-
Story
Mr.
of
Worldwide.
neutral opinion.
Yeah,
That sounds like a pretty sweet time.
Damn it!
it was
cool.
pretty dope. Yeah, it was pretty dope.
I need to put more thought into these. I'm sorry. I always think that they're good, and then I say them out loud, and they're not.
Yeah,
Hey,
well,
that first one was fire.
Which one was it? I already forgot.
About the rapture.
Yeah.
that was a good one.
Thanks.
Uh,
I don't even agree, but I loved it.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well.
well, that's why it's unpopular.
Yeah.
Exactly. So
Yeah.
it worked really well.
Right? Yeah. Okay, so my last one is sometimes covers are better than the original.
It only if it's Bruce Springsteen.
Not true, but yeah, I will agree. That's also a case.
I didn't know that Atlantic City was Bruce Springsteen until like a couple years ago.
Yeah, no, we figured it out together. I'm
I,
pretty
I,
sure.
I was just like, are you kidding me? And then that makes sense. New Jersey, et cetera, et cetera. But I thought it's the band that does that, right?
The band, yeah.
And that version's better, like way better.
I got some examples. I'll add that one to the list as well.
It's
But
true though. Sometimes it's true.
Sometimes it's true, right? So, here's some examples. Cause we ended as lovers.
Huh? What'd you
You
say?
know, the tune that Jeff Beck made like very famous. You know, it's like an instrumental, but Stevie Wonder wrote it and put it on one of his albums, and no one's heard that version. You know why?
Why?
It's not great. But then you
Oh.
hear Jeff Beck's version, and you're like, oh, this is an amazing song actually, and it's just interpreted in the right way.
About I Will Always Love You, Whitney Houston, with that banger.
Oh, good.
Wait.
One,
Whitney
good
Houston
one.
didn't write that?
Dolly Parton wrote that.
What? It's the first time I've ever heard of that. I didn't know that either.
Yeah, that's crazy.
La Bamba is another one.
La Bamba didn't write La Bamba?
So the version that most people know is probably Los Lobos, but Richie Valens did a version of it before that, which Los Lobos interpreted for the movie La Bamba.
Yeah.
Came out with Lou Diamond Phillips, and but there's an original version before that. It's like an old like Mexican folk tune, and that version is terrible.
My middle name's
And then
Diamond, man. That's so dope.
My Girl.
That's a good name.
It is a great name. It's
LD,
probably not
and
real.
it's LD
Um,
and everything.
My Girl was originally written by Smokey Robinson, and
Yeah,
the Temptations do a
Temptations.
much better version of it, I will say. And then literally every Elvis song.
Yeah, that's true.
Damn.
Yeah.
That song, I Can't Help Falling in Love.
Yeah.
Like everybody covers that.
And Elvis, but he didn't write. My point being, he didn't write any songs. I'm saying that all of his
Oh,
versions
I
are
thought
better
that
than
was
the original.
Elvis. That's not Elvis.
He's never written a song in his life.
Really?
Not a song that we've heard, anyways.
That Hound Dog song, he didn't write.
No, it's Big Mama Thornton.
No kidding.
Yep.
What about?
What about Who Let the Dogs Out?
Yeah.
You wrote that one. That's an Elvis original that was reinterpreted by the Baja Men. Yeah, you're right.
Thank
Sorry.
you for getting the Baja.
Sorry,
Man.
That's funny.
Oh, I love it. The Baja Man.
Off the, that was off the Rugrats in Paris soundtrack.
Yes, it was. Yes, it was.
That was another 1999.
That's in pain.
Another
Album?
1999 smash hit. I will say.
right next to
Dude,
Spoon.
I
One
got
of-
one. I wouldn't necessarily say this cover is better. Maybe they're equally good, but I think my favorite cover ever. I keep talking about Tool, but Tool, their only cover is "No Quarter" by Led Zeppelin.
Oh, I've never heard that
I don't know
before.
if you've heard. It's so cool, dude.
That's-
And it's like, it's very much a cover of the song, but they also wrote like 5 extra minutes of like more riffs
yeah, they did.
that fit into the song.
I love that.
It's crazy. It's like it's a Led Zeppelin cover, but half of the song is like original.
I would love to hear that.
It's really, really cool. And I don't know that I'd say that it's better, because I think "No Quarter" is one of the coolest songs ever.
Yeah,
But it's like, it's so cool that it's as cool as the real song.
it's at least as cool. Yeah,
It's tight. Anyone who hasn't heard it, I would check it out.
I'm definitely gonna check
I
that out.
wonder who's got the most like covered songs that didn't get the recognition for it.
The
like-
Bee Gees have a lot of them.
That's true, but
The Bee Gees like wrote the song or they covered them.
Yeah, the
Barry Gibb.
Barry Gibb wrote a lot of music for other
They
people.
do,
But-
like, "How Deep Is Your Love," right? I feel like a lot of people do that song.
For sure.
So
Ghetto Superstar. How about that one?
That's the Bee Gees.
That started as a Bee Gees tune called, well, what's his name? Barry Gibb wrote that for Dolly Parton and Kenny Rogers. It was called Islands in the Stream.
Islands in the Stream. Yeah, Dolly
And-
Parton. They didn't write that.
Barry Gibb wrote that song.
No kidding.
And yeah, and then that became at least the hook or the progression
I just heard
for
that
Ghetto
song-
Superstar.
Just heard that song recently.
Did you?
I was like, oh, this is nice. This is a nice
Shout out
song.
to Old Dirty Bastard. Rest in peace.
So I think that there's a distinction to be made though, because you're saying
What?
people that
What's up?
that had songs that were covered where the original people who wrote them
Yeah.
or performed them didn't get the recognition, versus somebody that's writing songs for other people. Whereas Barry Gibb, Stevie Wonder, Smokey Robinson, like these are like some of the top writers
Right.
on the planet.
Yeah.
It's not that they didn't get, they actually got the recognition because they got fucking paid.
Do you know?
But-
okay, keep going.
But like they wrote it with the intention of somebody else making it famous.
Sure.
you know?
Yeah, I know what you mean. I know what a cover is.
No, I know. I was speaking to your point.
No, yeah.
I was saying that I think that there was a distinction to
Come
be
on,
made.
man.
And I'm not even trying to say who's like the person who wrote it originally is probably very successful. But I think Bruce Springsteen's got a lot.
You could say Bruce might be the king of that.
I think he is really. And then to the like Blinded by the Light, and that's a Bruce Springsteen song, right?
Yeah.
And then
I think so,
nobody knows that. That
Dancing in the Dark.
Dancing in the Dark is a
covered.
great one. Everybody covers a song.
Because
Dude,
the night.
but yeah, that's enough.
Patti
Yeah,
Smith.
exactly.
Yeah.
Do you know what the most covered song is by artists of all time?
It's gotta be
It'd
Freebird.
be the one
right?
about Hallelujah, right?
No, that's another good one too. Leonard Cohen, he originally wrote that, right?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Is
but
it
it's
like all along the Watchtower. I feel like that's
you're getting closer with the '60s, but it's actually "Yesterday" by the Beatles.
Really
Oh,
most
yeah.
covered song of all time.
Yep.
Wow.
I would not have guessed that.
Never have guessed that. Although you know Elvis did a version of that song,
Even Elvis did it. If Elvis did it, you gotta know.
but
it's
his
good.
version is not as good as the Beatles. I will say.
No, yeah, they crushed it. But that is the most covered song. That's like recorded and then sold records and copies or whatever.
Didn't I think Percy Sledge did a version of that too? No, sorry, Hey Jude. He did Hey Jude with Dwayne Allman playing
Yeah.
guitar.
How
that
about
sounds cool.
Yeah, I would love to hear.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, it's yeah.
how about Joe Cocker?
Yeah. Love my words. Another guy who didn't write a song either. He just covered songs.
Joe Cocker. That's all he did was cover other people's songs.
And if anybody says that his version of "Little Help from My Friends" is better than the Beatles, I will fucking kill you. It's an
Ooh,
amazing version.
That is a good one.
It's an amazing version.
It's
but I mean, like you can't do the Beatles better than the Beatles did.
ugh.
I'm just saying,
I
it's not
disagree.
possible.
That is a good one where they are equally good.
Yeah,
But you're right. The original holds up.
yeah.
Yeah, the original song, of course, is always going to be like the original one. So that's what you're comparing it
How
to.
about The Devil Went Down to Georgia, the Primus version?
Oh, I haven't heard that before.
That
I
probably
would take that one over.
Yeah.
Did they play the fiddle?
Yeah, there's a fiddle in
There's a
it.
fiddle
Yeah.
in there.
I don't know who did the fiddle though. That's interesting. I'd like to know that. They
Me
do
too.
it.
Probably Les Claypool. He's like, I can also play fiddle.
Probably.
Fuck you. I could do everything.
All right, you guys got some unpopular
Oh, yeah.
opinions?
I recently released one of these and found out how unpopular. I did it just as a joke to see who it would trigger.
know this was unpopular.
Wasn't
I mean,
the
I
song,
had
was
it. I
it that
had
sucked?
no. This is nothing. This is way outside of music. But I threw it out on Instagram just to see what would happen. The hate that came my way. I just with the greater than sign did Pepsi greater than Coca-Cola.
Oh,
And you should have seen my inbox. Like someone even checked on me, like, dude, you're gonna piss a lot of people off. You better check that. And
yeah.
I was like, what's the big deal? Hate.
The Pepsi-
Very unpopular opinion, but I stand on it. And also the
Damn, dude.
dominance of Coca-Cola. I've had enough. All right. There's more
Yeah.
than one.
Pepsi's really having a hard time, I'm sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, they need some help.
It's hard being number two your entire existence.
yeah.
Oh yeah.
I would definitely live in that CEO's house. Is all I'm
I
saying.
agree with you. The Pepsi's better than Coke.
You
Come
guys-
on, let's start a movement.
I
We
was
can
in
do
a
it.
Pepsi family. Well, really, just white trash. I'm a Mountain Dew family.
You guys really want to start a movement? Why don't you
Who
go to bat
doesn't
for
like
fucking
Mountain Dew?
Ritz Cola? Okay, you want to start a fucking movement?
You talk about RC?
about
Cola?
RC?
The RC?
No. There's Ritz Cola,
What's
which is
Ritz?
Ritz
Cola?
Cola?
What about
My
Publix
point
brand
exactly.
cola?
Whoa.
Publix brand. You know what? Publix
RC
is
Cola
expanding.
is
It's
gnarly
just,
though.
it just says cola.
Yeah, just yeah. But you know what? Publix is expanding. They're doing just fine. Ritz Cola needs our help, guys.
They need some help.
Ritz need, because 3 out of the 4 people here haven't even heard of Ritz, and that's a real stat, guys. And that's unsettling.
Where do you buy Ritz?
They need help.
Like at Winn-Dixie, probably.
I remember Dr. Thunder from Walmart.
Oof, that sounds.
Dr. Thunder.
Yeah, you remember Dr. Thunder?
If
Is
what?
that like their Mountain Dew?
No, that's their Dr. Pepper.
There's also like a
And then they had Mountain
That's
Lightning
yeah.
for their Mountain Dew. Yeah. So
There's like I guess
50 cents for
Mr.
2
Pibb
liters.
Shocking.
being the alternate to Dr. Pepper. I guess that was one, but that came. Mr. Pibb's pretty popular.
Mr.
so.
Pibb's pretty popular. That's like the Pepsi of Dr. Pepper.
It is, I guess.
Yeah. But Pepsi is for sure not as good as Coca-Cola.
Oh,
That's
totally
just
I
fact.
disagree.
There's no opinion here. This is just fact.
No, Pepsi's
right?
wonderful.
Pepsi is just thick, sugary syrup is all it is, and Coke at least has like some kind of liquid texture to it.
I don't like Coke, man.
I don't feel like I have an immediate hangover after the first sip of Coke. You know what I mean?
I don't
Right.
trust people. Yeah, I can't. I love soda, but it's got to be diet the whole way.
My
Where
vote
you
for
from?
Pepsi is more of a protest vote. It's more like,
Oh, you're being Mr. Cool.
there we go.
Yeah,
It's
I
just
see.
more like, come on, man, enough already.
Enough.
You know
Yeah,
what I
give
mean?
some to the little
Come
guy.
on, man.
Come on,
Pepsi.
man.
I'm really sorry you got
He's also the
flagged about
exclusive
that.
drink.
I got a
of-
lot of flack about that.
That's crazy.
I will say this though, something I actually believe is Diet Pepsi over Diet Coke. I wish I didn't drink as much diet soda as I do, but that I will stand
I
on.
do. I'm addicted to Diet Mountain Dew, like worse than Dale Earnhardt Jr.
You should get a sponsorship.
I mean, like they're not sponsored by a DMD.
Where- so
anymore.
where do
you
you-
call it DMD? It's so fucking bad, man.
Yeah.
DMD.
I do.
So it's like Mellow Yellow, just like swill.
Mellow Yellow
just-
can go to fucking hell.
Yeah. I wish
Mountain
the
Dew.
rapture would happen so Mellow Yellow was
Yeah.
gone.
There's nothing fucking mellow.
Well, if Mellow Yellow's going to hell,
in my
if
opinion.
Mellow Yellow is hell, then they're sticking here with you, right?
Yeah.
What was the rumor that like Mellow
Good
Yellow
point.
wasn't it that it like decreases your sperm count or something
Yeah,
like that?
and that's fine with me.
I heard about DMD.
like not worried about it.
Nah.
I heard that about Mountain Dew actually.
What about
That
it?
also lowers your sperm count. Maybe it's probably the same exact thing. There's probably one flavor thing that they drop in there that makes a difference.
Who's counting this sperm though? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, hey, did you drink Mountain Dew today?
I'm like,
Why
yeah.
don't you
Hey,
go
let
ahead
me
and jack
check.
off in a cup for me real quick so I can just test your sperm count?
Yeah.
Check.
I don't. Yeah, the Diet Mountain Dew all day. That's my favorite.
This episode is definitely not for children.
DMD,
no.
man.
DMD.
I have a music
This episode
related.
is rated DMD.
DMD.
I feel like I'm
That's good.
hoarding the mic though, John. Would you like to give an unpopular opinion?
Yeah, bring it home.
I do have one.
What's that?
If just because a song has 7th and or 9th chords does not make it jazz.
That's very true.
Ooh.
Yeah, that's a good one.
But yeah, I agree with that.
But you'd be amazed how many times I run into that.
Play one of those jazz chords. Yeah, make it jazzy. Play it.
Well,
and
it's
then
just
put a
like
seventh
people just
on
play
it.
a song that is just like a rock song or like a singer songwriter song, and they add like a 9th, and they're like, it's basically like a jazz kind of song.
Yeah,
This one's like a jazz style
yeah,
because like this one chord has a 9th on it,
yeah.
and I'm like, I don't think that's not what jazz means.
If
What does jazz mean?
yeah, that's
what I want to know.
I've
That's a good
always
question.
found maybe I have an ivory tower syndrome from like that I studied like I went to school or whatever, but I've always found a weird thing about like what people think makes something jazzy.
yeah.
I'm always like, that's not jazz.
Do you want to
Yeah,
think about jazz?
well-
if you ever go to,
I know Billy loves jazz.
no, I
It's
don't.
I've
his
watched
favorite
the
genre. It's the
podcast.
worst.
I know. Go ahead.
If you go to the mall, they play jazz the whole time, everywhere. Outside, if you go to St. John's Town Center, you know why? It's the lowest common denominator because nobody can ever agree on music, and everybody just equally hates it. That's my opinion on jazz. Dave
yeah.
Brubeck's all right. I will
Got
say
him.
that.
Oh, exactly. Okay,
He's great. I love Dave Brubeck.
he's amazing.
Yeah,
I have
he's
a
incredible.
dumber music, unpopular.
Let's keep it going.
Lay it on me.
Fucking
And-
late night podcast.
and I'll say this.
Hey, dude, Joe Rogan does 5.5-hour podcasts.
Oh,
Why
God.
can't
We
we?
can fucking get away with it. Where's Alex Jones when you need him?
Come on.
No, Mr. Cole's
He's in an
breaking the
underground
record.
bunker.
They're recording the songs. It sounds like there's 50
Listen up, man.
voices on the
We got
songs.
pterodactyls,
Yeah, they're making the
Lizards.
frogs gay with their music.
breathing through their eyelids. I'm telling you.
That's pretty good.
My unpopular opinion, which I will
Mr.
say,
Cole.
this is what's bullshit about it, because I don't think this should be unpopular opinion. Maybe it's less cool, but I'm rocking the Ronnie Van Zant shirt right now.
Yeah, man.
And I would say that Leonard fucking Skinner is one of the greatest bands of all time. And although that's not cool enough to say anymore, that's my fucking opinion. Because Leonard Skinner is one of the greatest fucking bands.
Dude,
of all
I
time.
won't
what
fight you on
city-
that.
Do you know what city you're in?
Yeah,
right
I
now?
mean, like,
I
It is-
do.
It's
I do.
actually the coolest thing to say in Jack. I mean, like, in fact, that if you didn't say that they were actually the coolest band in the world, that you would probably be.
I knew I was in good
Chastised big
company
time.
tonight for sure.
Well, I'm not saying that I agree with that.
How
fact.
many albums-
I'm like not into Skinner at all, right?
Really?
But,
So there's a great
uh,
documentary just released
I
on
loved
Netflix,
it, loved
and I
it.
did love it too. And I'm rocking the shirt, man. It's just
Yeah.
how I fucking
It's
feel.
dope.
You know what I mean?
I feel oh, it's definitely an opinion.
I want to go see
Well,
his.
you were gonna say something, John?
No, that was just a yawn, but I agree with Nolan.
You agree
It's
with
that
that?
late night podcast vibe.
They set the
Yeah.
standard for Southern rock.
I mean,
yep.
In
They
truth,
invented
I
it.
haven't listened to them a huge amount to where I know it well, but my opinion as it stands is that I like them.
Yeah, I don't dislike Skinner. I just think that Jacksonville, there's
also
other
just-
bands out there. Just saying,
It's true.
in general.
But I do have a bit of hometown bias, I think. I
That's-
think it's cool to like Jacksonville things.
yeah,
I'm glad that they're from here. Good. It's good for them. Good for us.
yeah, and we can
Everybody wins.
and we can acknowledge that they were a great band and that they're from this
Are.
awesome city. But we can also embrace new trends and new music.
That's like
and-
trying to tell Miami to get over Pitbull. You need to get out of this.
No, yeah, they definitely should. Miami. I have no.
Not
Very
gonna
true.
happen here.
I don't care where I'm from. If something's fucking old, it's old. And Miami's got a lot of fucking shit that I can't stand about it.
What
In
about
fact, that's why I
Gloria
left.
Estefan?
Yeah,
Are you forgetting her?
Let's leave her where she belongs. Also, super talented. The Miami Sound Machine was an amazing band. Is an amazing band, right?
Is that who did? Come on, baby, come
Yeah.
hit a conga.
Yeah.
You're damn right it is.
Recorded at
Timeless.
one of the still premier recording studios in the world, the Hit Factory at the time called Criteria Records.
In
And-
Miami?
In Miami, yep. Justin Timberlake still
Why are you
records
saying
it.
it weird?
What do you mean?
It's Miami.
Okay. But there's a lot of things about Miami
So stupid.
that suck, and I'm just saying that or things are just maybe like not so cool anymore.
How are you gonna tie this back to Leonard Skinner?
That there's cool things that are happening now that we can just embrace, and we don't have to stay stuck.
Yeah,
on
they're not
Skinner
the
and the Allman
be all
Brothers.
band ever, but
My
they
last
had a
thoughts
lot
on
of good
Skinner would
songs.
just be, they were from Jacksonville. They're certainly played frequently in Jacksonville,
Mhm.
Yeah.
but they were definitely like proof that you can work really hard as a band, and you can if you practice every fucking day and really care and really try to do something, you can become Leonard Skinner.
Yeah,
And it's a challenge today to do that.
100%.
So I aspire to be in a band like that. And I don't know. Like I said, it's unpopular opinion because they were so popular, but rocking the Van Zant. So
Yeah.
That's a good point. I will say that that work ethic is definitely admirable for sure. But they're kind of like the Coca-Cola of the Southern rock, right?
they are the dominant.
The
Yeah.
dominant,
Force in
the
Southern Rock.
best.
Yeah.
You prefer them over every
Marshall
other
Tucker band's like,
ones.
fuck Leonard Skinner.
Yeah. I mean, I'd say I guess I'm just gonna be Mr. Cool and go to bat for Marshall Tucker at this point. And with that, we'll round out the episode. Thank you guys so
Yeah.
much for being here. This was a blast.
Yeah.
And check out the new album, You Win, and the block party that they're doing in St. Augustine on November 27th. And
Nailed it.
We will
Follow
see you guys
Mr.
next
Cool.
time. Follow
Actually,
Mr. Cool. Oh, follow Mr. Cool
If
on
you're
Instagram.
watching this right now and you're not at our show in 1904, we can't be friends anymore.
That's true. Maybe just watch
When's
this
your
one.
show at 1904?
That's
Friday.
This will,
Well,
this will
well, as this
premiere
is
on
airing, pretty much,
Friday.
But you can watch this on Saturday.
What's on Saturday?
When we're.
Oh, you mean watch the
not-
podcast on Saturday? Whenever you're free.
Yeah, whenever you're free. It's out there in the universe forever.
Yeah.
Dude, somebody might be listening to this in 5 years and be like, what the hell are you talking about?
Yeah, this Friday.
That's true. Yeah, that is true.
The
All
internet
right.
is forever.
Thanks for having us. Really appreciate it.
Yeah,
Anytime.
absolutely.
I
Glad to
think
be here.
I would also say you guys are fucking awesome, and
Yeah.
thanks for doing this. And we had a blast playing that one show with you. We should do it again.
Absolutely. Definitely make that happen.
It's been a while since we've done this. I really liked when we let the guests, and they're sitting here in front of us. Hey, how you doing? Say goodbye to everybody.
Yeah.
If you want to send us out.
You were listening to the Bottom of the Bill podcast and or watching it, and it was our honor. I'm sitting here with the great Jon Ward. My name is Nolan Curtis. Thank you for tuning in, and please do follow Mr. Cool everywhere, on Spotify in particular. Thank you.
Adios, muchachos.